You're surrounded by journalists. Hold your position. I see multiple journalists on the horizon. Stand by. We came to feel the music.
Foghorn, so good. You're watching TBPN! Today's Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. We are live from the TBPN Ultradome, the Temple of Technology, the Fortress of Finance, the capital of capital. Jordy, what is going on in the timeline?
We got a red flag.
We got a red flag on the play. The timeline is in turmoil. Elon Musk and Sam Altman are fighting. Mom and dad are fighting. Mom and dad
Shots
are fighting.
fired.
Shots fired. This all started because of Apple, actually. Not OpenAI, not X, not the Everything app, but Apple and the iOS charts. So this started with Elon Musk posting, Apple is behaving in a manner that makes it impossible for any AI company besides OpenAI to reach #1 in the App Store, which is an unequivocal antitrust violation. XAI will take immediate legal action. Well, the community notes section took immediate action and added a number of extra context that they thought people might want to know. First, in January of 2025, DeepSeek reached #1 overall in the App Store, similar to how Ramp is our #1 sponsor on this show. Time is money, save both. Visa, use corporate cards, bill payments, accounting, and a whole lot more all in one place, folks. Go to ramp.com. And just 1 month ago, on July 18th, 2025, Perplexity reached #1 overall in India's App Store. That's interesting. I didn't realize that.
And Grok has hit #1 in Japan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, but
Probably a
was
number
that
of
in
factors
was
contributing to that.
So most of the AI apps live in the productivity section. So that must have been in that, but it's odd because it's like we need a whole new set of categories for the new AI apps. I feel like they should have their own category immediately. What are all the categories? I mean, productivity, I feel like that's everything from like spreadsheets to ChatGPT. Like it's a pretty broad category. And so I mean, Apple probably needs to redo the categories. Where even are the categories? I feel like they're hard to find these days. They have editor choice apps, which we'll get into because, okay, so browse categories. They have Apple Vision Pro apps at the top. That's an odd choice for the iPhone version of the App Store. Then Apple Watch apps, then AR apps, then books, business, developer tools, education, entertainment, finance, food and drink. Food and drink gets its own category.
Well, I'm looking at the global top charts right now, or global for the US, so across all the different categories. And right now, ChatGPT is #1. #2 is Tea on Her dating advice, which
wait, there's a new Tea app?
which is helping men date safe.
Wait, so it's the men version?
The male version
The male
of the Tea
version?
app. It is
It's men's cereal,
very
but for
poorly
the Tea app.
rated, but it is #1 in lifestyle and *2 on the overall chart. #3 is Tea dating. 4 is Threads, which apparently just crossed 400 million monthly active
They're
users.
on a tear. Adam Mosseri's not messing around over at
That's
Meta
right.
HQ.
And Grok is #5.
Okay,
so
that's not that bad.
This is despite
That's not that
Apple. I do believe that Elon is correct and that Apple's not including Grok in features, which
Sure.
are editorial
that's
decisions.
a separate thing.
Editorial.
Yeah. So, I mean, Doge Designer says Grok is the #2 app in productivity, #6 overall. So why is it so hard to find? And what he's pointing out is that Elon Musk shared this. Grok is the smartest AI in the world and on the toughest tests and came first by far in coding, but is not mentioned at all under AI by Apple. So Apple did an editorial view on the AI-powered apps, and they listed out a bunch. ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, Lightroom, photo and video editor, which... I mean, I use it every once in a while, but it barely has AI features. It does not compare to a foundation model. It's not a chat interface. Then you have Canva. Then you have Duolingo, which, of course, Duolingo uses artificial intelligence in some ways, but you don't think of it as like a competitor to ChatGPT. So this is clearly just like, here's some fun apps, and we're using the AI buzzword over at Apple.
And I think it's given the series of PR crises that Grok has experienced in the last, call it 6 weeks. I think it is fairly fair for the App Store to say, hey, let's let this breathe a little bit. We're not removing them from the App Store. We're not removing them from the rankings. They're still ranked. But maybe let's not feature it, given that it's been saying.
Yeah, the other interesting thing is, like, Grok usage has to be split across X and Grok, the actual app. Like, I bet, I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of actual prompts or tokens flow through X, the everything app. Like, that's certainly how I use Grok. When I use it, I usually start with a post, click the Grok button, then I'm going back and forth a little bit there. And then also, they actually have a pretty awesome flow where now on any image you see on X, you can press and hold and say, edit this in Grok, and then you can just type Studio Ghibli and it just Ghibli's it right there in Grok.
And they launched a feature to turn it into a video.
Exactly. So all of those Grok tokens, all those Grok usages, that's going to feed into the X app, which again, they've always put X in news and not in social networking, because I think it couldn't beat Facebook and Instagram, but it can beat like the traditional news apps. So all of the different rankings are all very, it's all gamed in different ways. Some of them are momentum based. Some of them are different categories. And I mean, we heard this from Nikita Beer, where he was saying that his last app that went super viral, he hid in the games section. Those were his words. He hid because the game section is so crowded that people wouldn't see him climbing the rankings, but
charts are based on acceleration broadly,
exactly,
not total usage.
And there are only like 10 dominant social platforms. So if he had a ton of momentum, he'd probably be in the top 10. People would be screenshotting and being like, what is this? And it would be on Mark Zuckerberg's desk. And Mark would have to be like, what's our plan to kill this? Right? As opposed to if you're hanging out in games next to 75 Candy Crush clones, you could be doing well, but realistically, you're not really gaining that much. You're not drawing that much attention. Then at the last second, he swaps over to social networking where he actually wanted to be, and then he's at the top of the charts. Anyway,
so Elon says Apple's behaving in a manner that makes it impossible for any AI company besides OpenAI to reach #1 in the App Store. He starts getting community noted. Sam Altman fires back, says this is a remarkable claim. Claims that Elon is using X to benefit himself and his own companies and harm his competitors. Sam starts getting community noted. Elon fires back and says, you got 3 million views on your BS post. You liar, far more than I've received on many of mine, despite me having 50 times your follower count. Elon's getting community noted, but Sam fires back, skill issue or bots.
Skill issue or bots.
Anyways, based
the timelines
off of that,
in turmoil.
Sam says, will you sign an affidavit that you never directed changes to the X algorithm in a way that hurt your competitors or helped your own companies?
Wait, who said that?
This is Sam.
Sam said that. An
affidavit. I will
affidavit.
apologize if so. One thing is that OpenAI has consistently dominated the narrative on X organically. Many of their...
To some degree. I feel like OpenAI has been more dominant just in the real world, and actually Anthropic's done very well on X. And there's been this whole theme of like Claude has better vibes and big model smell and Claude Code and stuff. Like,
if Sam Altman puts a post up, he can put up a picture of a Death Star and get
you're 100% correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I don't believe that he's like shadow banned
No.
I don't believe that anyone in OpenAI is like shadow banned
Yeah,
or being held back in the algorithm.
Yeah.
But somebody responded
Well,
to this
really
exchange.
quickly, if Sam's worried about reach, he should be using Restream, putting his content all over the internet. Restream, one live
Great point,
destination,
John.
one live stream, 30 plus destinations, multi-stream, and reach your audience wherever they are. And thank you to everyone in the chat today. Mark, Siraj, we got Taylor, David, we got a whole crew here. Techno
Squad.
Chief, I believe, said good morning to me. Hello, Techno Chief.
Good morning.
to see you. And it's fun having all the crew assemble in the chat rooms. We actually can see the chat wherever it's happening, whether it's on X or on YouTube because of Restream. So thank you to Restream. Anyway, continue.
A friend just messaged and said, somebody tell Elon to unshadow ban me.
Okay.
And I think that...
I think I know who this is.
I think it's much more likely that that it's a skill issue.
I think it is a skill issue for this particular person.
Sam is saying here, you never know. You never know. But somebody responded to Sam and Elon's exchange, and they said, Grok, who's right? Don't be biased. And Grok fires back and says, based on verified evidence, Sam Altman is right. Musk's Apple antitrust claim is undermined by apps like DeepSeek and Perplexity, reaching number 1 in 2025. Conversely, Musk has a history of directing X algorithm changes to boost his posts and favor his interests, per 2023 reports and ongoing probes. Hypocrisy noted. So we'll see how long.
But this is 4D chess because in general, people don't believe Grok because they believe it to be insane.
Well, it said some wild things.
Crazy things. And so if Grok is siding with Sam, people will be like, well, Grok's wrong. Elon's actually correct.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of these things.
Thinking, what have I created? I created a monster. This is like the child that, what's that mythology where the child kills the...
Oedipus Rex, of course.
Yes. Oedipus Rex moment. Child coming for the father.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how long Grok
I don't know how
lasts.
much you want to play on that analogy. It gets pretty weird.
It gets pretty weird.
I mean, Oedipus marries his mother. In that story.
But we'll see how long Grok lasts in the timeline today. We'll see. So the Wall Street Journal wrote it up. Apple is behaving in a manner that makes it impossible for any AI company besides OpenAI to reach number 1. The App Store, which features lists of top and trending apps, is a key way for apps to access new customers. Apple doesn't say much about how or why it chooses particular apps to feature. Among the factors it considers is usability and positive reviews and ratings. Yeah, it's definitely getting more and more complex. It's just important to break out editorial decisions from the App Store team and true rankings, right?
I mean, I think a lot of people have not taken a tour of the modern App Store on iOS because it used to be that you just show up and there was just a list of, like, the charts were like a few clicks away. I'm like 7 clicks deep. There's an ad for just Google, I guess, in here. There's essentials that are just top games right now. Like, you have to scroll and scroll and scroll, and then you go over to apps. Then you can browse the categories. But even when you browse the categories, you go to productivity, it's going to give you, like, when I go to productivity, you think I'd be browsing to hit, like, okay, show me the top productivity apps. Yeah. No, it's showing me an app called Sofa, a downtime organizer. Then it's showing me essential productivity apps that are selected by the App Store editors. Then the best calendar apps, best to-do apps, best email apps, best focus timer, habit tracking. It's going. And
the big question is how much discovery is actually happening in the App Store? Yep. Is this where people are actually finding?
I got to the top charts, but it's 7 clicks deep. And so, if I go to free apps, it's ChatGPT number 1, then Grok number 2, then Microsoft Authenticator number 3, AGI achieved. Let's hear from Microsoft Authenticator. Maybe Grok
doesn't get enough love. No, but the question here is: are people discovering various LLMs through TikTok and X and Instagram and various platforms? Is that where discovery is happening? Yeah. And I'm sure there's some discovery happening in the App Store, but it has to be a very small fraction of the downloads being driven are actually driven by the editorial decisions from the App Store.
Of course, yeah. And games don't even show up in the top. Like, it's not, games are not, it's a completely separate tab. You cannot select games as one of the subcategories of apps because games are not considered apps anymore in the App Store. To answer the question about, like, hiding in games. The other question is just, like, how fair is it to give yourself a little boost in your app that you paid $70 billion for?
Yeah.
Like, I was thinking about this, and I was saying, like,
44 billion.
oh, it was 44?
Yeah.
It was 44. It wasn't 69. I thought it was 69 for some reason.
You
That
would
was
think
that was
he
the
would do
price
that.
per share. Was
Yeah.
he paid 60. So ridiculous. Anyway, I was thinking about, like, before the launch of Instagram Stories, I didn't have a way to share Snapchat stories on Instagram. Like, you could screenshot them, but there's no sort of like native way to share a link to a story that if someone on my Instagram feed sees it, it clicks and it automatically opens in Snapchat. Like, it was always a walled garden. And then when Instagram Stories came out, there was really no way to tie those two platforms together. Like, in the pre-Meta era, there was a way when you shared a post on Instagram to check a box and automatically share it to your Twitter. And it would not just share a link, it would share the actual photo with the comment, and it would work as a native post on X. And it could, not really go viral, but it existed on Twitter as like a first-class citizen, in the sense that the image was there was no link, it was just like you had just actually opened the app, posted the same photo with proper cross post, right? And then eventually, once Facebook bought Instagram, Twitter had to respond by breaking that integration. So early on, Twitter had this was like the Adam Bain era, like the early, back the Dick Costolo era. Twitter had this idea of, like, we're going to be the command line for your life. And there was this idea of, like, I'm going to be able to tweet at you to send money to you. Like, the everything app idea is something that's over 13 years old at this point, maybe 15 years old at this point. Like, the Twitter executives were thinking about this a long time ago, like being able to tweet money at you, being able to use Twitter as kind of this like substrate or this like API for all sorts of things. Other apps would be built on top of Twitter. There was TweetDeck and Tweetybird and like all these different, like the mobile app was by an independent developer. And they just didn't, and they were like, why would we need one? We just developed the protocol. Well,
Reddit did this too.
Yeah, well, you need one because you want to stuff ads in it, obviously, and you want to monetize it. It makes a ton of sense. And so Elon came and killed all that. But
the other challenge here is Grok has a variety of NSFW features.
Yep.
And when Apple is making editorial decisions about which apps to feature in the App Store, that is certainly going to be on their mind.
We're having Eugenia from Replica on the show later today. I'm wondering if Replica, I think, is currently in the App Store with 226,000 reviews. Hasn't gotten kicked out. I'm trying to think if any other apps. So like OnlyFans, for example, does not have an app. I'm wondering if any of what Character AI does, right? So Apple's clearly drawn the line at like AI chatbots, even if they're somewhat erotic, are okay. But
that doesn't mean they're gonna. That doesn't mean they're gonna feature.
They're not going to promote it.
To the average person on the App Store.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct.
And then again, I think it's very hard to say how Apple makes these editorial decisions. But it's very possible that they are talking with people on the Apple team and being like, "What apps do you like? What apps are you using?" And making decisions that way, right? I think part of Grok over the last month or so is like figuring out like how do we get strong consumer adoption? Which categories are we going to get strong?
I'll tell you how they get strong consumer adoption. SOC 2 compliance. They need to get on Vanta. Automate compliance, manage risk, prove trust continuously. Vanta's trust management platform takes the manual work out of your security and compliance process and replaces it with continuous automation, whether you're pursuing your first framework or managing a complex program. No, that is a good question. How can Grok actually get consumer adoption? The companion space seems like maybe the right move, even if it is a little weird. But is there any other path? I mean, forking it into X and Twitter and like having it show up on every post seems like a reasonable way. I wonder, it is weird that they have two apps. I thought X was supposed to be the everything app. Like why are they trying to get me to install a second app when they should maybe just say, hey, we're actually going to be the everything app. You can use Grok fully and you're all the upgrade and you can get on Grok Heavy and you can be paying $200 a month for a top tier, the super insane level LLM, but it all exists and it's all managed within the X app that already has a lot of a lot of installations.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a challenge.
why a second app?
Your Grok is top or near the top of a bunch of different benchmarks.
Yeah.
And yet that doesn't guarantee consumer adoption, right?
Yeah.
People don't switch products because something is 20% better in this technical way, right? They develop habits.
Yeah.
And the other thing, it was only a month ago, Grok or XAI announced a partnership with the Department of Defense, a $200 million contract. So that's serious. But again, figuring out where they're going to ramp revenue with consumers when it's not just bundled into X, the social media app.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to debate, like, when can a new technology be bolted on and become additive to an existing platform versus you need a new app to actually get it to work. So Facebook actually rolled out a search engine in Facebook, the Blue app, like years ago. And when you would go to search, you could search for your friends, but then you could also go and it would search the web too. And it would say, hey, you're searching for this thing. There's no posts about it out there, so let's just pull from the web. And they basically built a search engine.
Team, pull up this post from ChatGPT. I want to see John's live reaction to it.
Okay, let me see this post. Whereas like stories was something that was added on.
So ChatGPT quoted Grok saying that Sam Altman is right
correct.
and said, good bot.
Good bot. Wow. Timelines in turmoil. You love to see it. It's a great day on the internet. But there's always, so I think there is something about like the screen pixel real estate that is somewhat like screen pixels are like scarce, and you can only do so much. Like like Instagram was able to add Reels as a tab, integrate those into the main feed. They were able to add stories up at the top as a little bar, and it got crowded. But Instagram did not see massive churn.
Yeah.
But I think that I really think if they try and stuff like, okay, yes, this is also like Claude code, and you're going to like you're going to do your homework in Instagram now. You're going to do your software engineering in Instagram right now.
Surfers up here. You're going to have a chat below.
I think people will just say no. I think it's too big of a step. Whereas going from photos to videos to reels to stories, like all of that works within the same kind of UX UI space. But if you try and bolt on like a productivity tool into a social network, it winds up being a little rough. And so maybe that's the reason why Elon like realizes that like Grok has to be a separate app. Because if I'm using Grok Heavy to solve Olympic level math, I might not want that to happen on the chaos timeline feed, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but it's an uphill battle.
If you're a software engineer working at a company, and every time your boss walks up to talk to you about something, you're in X, the Everything app, just scrolling the timeline while coding, that might be tough, right? It might be better to be doing that coding work and with Grok, right?
Put a spreadsheet in there. Put a database in there. Let me build an entire business within the Everything app. Tyler, what's your reaction today?
I think so. One thing I've been thinking about is like, I forget who it was, but someone said like, as a company, you want to like do things that like go against your competitor's morals, right? Do you remember?
Yeah, this was Paul Graham.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't morals, but it was just like the idea of counter positioning. This idea that like Avi Schiffman at Friend, like he's making a product that is a wearable AI device. And if he makes it look like an Apple product and he makes it like, oh, it's instead of an AirPod and an iPhone, it's a necklace, like, and it has Apple design language, like Apple will totally be able to just steamroll that by launching something very similar.
Yeah.
Whereas if he comes out with something that has such a bizarre design that Apple would be like, wow, if we try and copy him.
And he's not trying to make it useful for anything other than being your friend.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He's also counter positioning against ChatGPT,
Yep.
which is a tool. Its default state is not to be your friend. People
Yep.
use it that way, but and in some ways it's designed to function like that. But ultimately, yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
carved out his own. And Grok did the same thing by coming out and like leaning really heavy into companionship.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a.
So
I think
that-
that's
that's the
something
point,
that
right?
Down
OpenAI
that
wasn't
path.
willing to do.
Yeah.
If they're gonna go like in that like kind of counter positioning like idea, I think they could also I could see them doing almost like a Cluely type thing where it's like, okay, you can use this for your homework. Like you make it very good at like, you don't have to use like cheating per se, but I think that's like an interesting way that like if they want to go further down that like consumer kind of positioning.
Yeah, it's odd that it feels like they're trying to do a lot right now. They're still in the exploration phase because maybe this gets to like the value of transfer learning and reinforcement learning, but I have a hard time believing that many people who are in the market for like a companion are like, I definitely want it to be able to ace humanity's last exam. Like, in fact,
Super important to me.
In fact, I think that you might want a companion not to be better than you at math. Like, I think you might want a companion that just kind of like is like, oh yeah, I agree, man. Like that math problem
this is a
hard.
toxic
Like,
friendship dynamic. People are like, I want my friend to be great, but not better than me.
Exactly. That's real. So they need to dumb it down. They need to be the inverse of bench hacking.
Yeah, the truth
Yeah,
seeking
the new meta is going to be
seems
teaching your AI how to do things.
Yeah.
Teaching it history.
Yeah.
Teaching it how to do your homework.
Yeah. I mean, the Feynman method, you teach and then you learn it. Like I would probably learn more from teaching an LLM the answer to a problem than it trying to teach me. What were you about to say?
I was gonna say like the truth-seeking like idea of Grok seems very much like opposed to the companion aspect. Like
Yeah.
those seem like two different ends of.
The hero of our group chat right now is one of the greatest fabulists in history. he's a serial liar.
Yes.
but he's the most entertaining
He's the court
character.
jester.
He's the court jester of our group chat because he hallucinates more than GPT-2. And it's fantastic. And it genuinely provides a lot of value than just someone who's like, oh, I
incredibly
will only
entertaining.
give you things that are 100%. I will only say things that are 100% factual. I will only say things that are definitively provable. It's like, no, he throws out a lot of wild pitches, but every
Yep.
once in a while, you just slam it into the outfield. Anyway.
Well, let's switch gears.
Think bigger, build faster. Figma helps design and development teams build great products together. Get started for free at Figma.com.
Try Figma Make.
Yeah. Should we go over to Perplexity World?
Yes.
So, exclusive from the Wall Street Journal, AI startup Perplexity made an unsolicited long shot offer to buy Google's Chrome browser for $34.5 billion.
This inspired me, John.
Yes.
Everybody needs to be making long shot offers.
I
TBPN, let's submit an offer to buy the Golden Gate Bridge. Privatize
That's a good
it.
one. That's a good one. What
We
else
got to
should
be
we
thinking
buy?
bigger.
What else should we buy? I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, it's really, when I saw this, it's funny to think that Sundar has to go to the board or like probably send them an email and say like, I'm required to let you know that we've received this offer from Perplexity to buy one of the crown jewels of our product ecosystem.
I wonder how real this is. Like, it seems like we would, like, the reporting is pretty loose. We can read through this Wall Street Journal article and then kind of like dig into it a little bit more. So Perplexity's offer is significantly more than its own valuation, which is estimated at $18 billion. Has this ever been done before? Has any tech company been able to pull off an acquisition that's bigger than their own valuation? Like, they would need
Totally.
to
I mean,
raise so much
what was
money,
the what
right?
was the Slow Ventures company
I don't know.
that Metropolis,
Oh,
right?
okay.
And they buy a
Yeah.
company that was much larger,
Okay.
basically more
Kind of reverse
traditional.
merger almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
these things happen.
So there's also pressure. So estimates of Chrome's enterprise value vary widely, but recent ones have ranged between 20 billion and 50 billion. I have no idea how you got that. I feel like Chrome is probably more valuable than that just on, I mean, I imagine that the default search engine in Chrome has got to be as valuable as the default search engine in iOS, Safari, right? And how much is Apple paying Google every year? 20 billion?
Per year.
I mean, you'd pay you'd pay way more than $50 billion to get $20 billion of profit every year. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So that feels low. I don't know where those estimates came from, but they are apparently under pressure. U.S. District Judge Amit Mehta is weighing whether to force Google to sell the browser as a means of weakening Google's stranglehold on web search. It's so interesting that like we're having this debate now. Like Google's had 99% of the web search market for 2 decades, and they finally have a crack in the foundation with ChatGPT actually eroding things, AI, LLMs kind of upending web search dominance. Like
we're having James from Profound on later today, which is built a big business very quickly because consumers are now using something besides Google search to do web searches.
Yeah, this is like the last. This is like completely the wrong time to be focused on this. Like the ship has completely sailed. But that's kind of the pace that the government operates at. So
the Journal says Perplexity offer could be an attempt to signal to the judge that there's an interested buyer should he force a sale. I think there would be a lot of interested buyers if there was a forced sale.
Yeah. Who else would buy it? Apple? Meta? Microsoft? Get Bing going again?
Bing. It's Bing.
Bing it? I mean, Microsoft would have a wild strategy because they'd have all the code to ChatGPT, all the OpenAI intellectual property. Like they could do what Perplexity is thinking about, right?
What does this say? What does this say about? So they just launched the Perplexity Comet browser.
Yeah, Daniel says Chrome's worth at least 90 to 120 billion. I agree. I think 20 is too low.
Daniel. But so Perplexity just launched Comet. Mm-hmm. We had Arvind on the show. Yeah. He said this was a big important bet for the company.
Yep.
If you just launched a browser and now you're saying that you want to buy to compete with Chrome and now you're trying to buy Chrome.
Yeah.
What does that say about the state of your new product?
Distribution is king. It's very clear that even if you built a better product, the best product is not going to win. And we see this with the LLMs. Like the leaderboards and the vibes shift constantly, but the consumer adoption is just around chat. Everyone just uses chat. That's the one that's broken through. That's the one that people are familiar with all over the United States and all over the world. And so it's very hard to break through. Even if Perplexity can like rocket to the top of the App Store in India for a little bit, like it's hard to hold on to when the ChatGPT snowball is just growing bigger and bigger every single day.
Yeah.
Much like the Graphite snowball. Code review for the age of AI. Graphite helps teams on GitHub ship higher quality software faster. Get started for free. Graphite.dev. Is there a poly market on Perplexity, by the way? Can you look that up?
Will Perplexity acquire Chrome in 2025?
What's the market on it?
When I posted about it earlier, it was at 12%, and I said 12 seems quite high, and it's now at 3%.
It went down, even though they're in the Journal saying they're going to do it. They're like issuing offers.
The market opened at 34% at like 9 a.m. when the news dropped, and it's now down at 3%. So
wait, just today it went from 34 down to 3. Wow, so this has basically been like debunked. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's. I would put the odds of this deal happening closer to 0% than 1%.
That sounds fair.
But great way for Perplexity to get in the Journal.
Call me.
Bloomberg.
No, this is great for SEO. It definitely puts Perplexity and web browser in the same keyword.
But Perplexity was also bidding on TikTok earlier this year.
Arvind loves a long shot bet, a long shot bid.
I invited him on the show this morning. I don't think they want to.
No, he's not ready for press.
Not ready to chat, but we love a size Lord long shot offer.
Keep throwing these out. More startups should do this. Google hasn't indicated a willingness to sell Chrome. In testimony this year, Pichai told the judge that forcing the company to sell it or share data with rivals would harm Google's business, deter it from investing in new technology, and potentially create security risks. Chrome has roughly 3.5 billion users worldwide. It's like Perplexity has probably like millions of users, but it's just going to take decades, even at reasonable growth rate, to hit 3 billion. It's just so many people. and accounts for more than 60% of the global browser market. That's lower than I thought it would be. Founded in 2022, San Francisco-based Perplexity recently released its own web browser called Comet to some of its users. Tyler, you've demoed these.
Yep.
What are you daily driving these days in terms of the web browser?
I'm using old reliable Chrome.
You're using Chrome?
Yeah, I don't know. None of the agent browsers really seemed very helpful to me.
Have you churned from Cluely too?
Yeah.
You're
Well,
not a
I stopped using that
GAU?
right
Okay.
after the show ended.
Yeah.
I'm not doing interviews. So.
I was thinking about like the Cluely pattern.
What if Tyler was like been using Cluely every day, hours a day? We're like, wait, you've been interviewing with other companies?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that I when I was thinking about Cluely, I was actually wondering like if we ran the show through Cluely and we had like this idea of like streaming audio essentially and streaming pixels and then just somewhat random LLM queries firing all the time. Like, is that a good pattern versus ChatGPT where you have to decide, okay, this is the time to query it. And so when I think about like the going to you and saying like pull the poly market up on Perplexity or tell me the market share for Chrome, like if we could have something like Cluely running and it's just a big screen there that I can see and it's just pulling up answers to questions that it thinks we're about to talk about or ask or just adding context, like that actually might be kind of useful to us. But I don't know if a tool like that exists. It also just might be so sloppy and so noisy and so inference heavy that it just doesn't math out. I don't know. Are there any value or like what's actually seeing breakout for you in terms of AI adoption?
I mean, most of my time using AI tools is just like coding stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like Claude Code, Cursor a little bit. Sometimes I just go raw, chatgpt.com.
Oh, that's raw?
Yeah, just straight prompt. Like
what about raw text file? What happened to good old fashioned just handwritten code, farm to table code? Apparently not.
Pasture raised code.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like Cluely, I'm not doing like sales calls or like anything that really requires that kind of like interaction.
Yeah.
So not super useful for me, but
yeah, I wonder how the product will change because like the marketing is not going to stop. Like they are definitely going to keep filling that top funnel until they figure out the bottom of the funnel and the churn. But I wonder what retention's like. I mean, I imagine that you bring in such a broad top of funnel, like there's probably people that are sticking around. There's probably people that just sign up and forget their credit cards are down and they just pay for a while. Like the nature of just getting someone to convert for $20 a month. They don't even have a free tier, right? Like you have to pay to like get up and running.
No, they do have a free tier.
They do. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. There was something. Tyler, did you see Vibe Sort? Someone wrote a sorting algorithm that uses an LLM. You have to put in your OpenAI API key, and then it just passes the random list or the array of numbers to ChatGPT and asks ChatGPT to sort it, and it just comes back with whatever it can do. And I was thinking that did you ever have to do FizzBuzz back in the day? Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
We should definitely do Vibe FizzBuzz, where it for each number between 1 and 100, it queries the GPT-5 API to ask it should it respond with the number fizz or buzz. the most inefficient and most inference heavy fizz buzz answer possible. Anyway. Back to Perplexity. Perplexity told Sundar Pichai, as part of the proposed acquisition, it would maintain and support Chromium, the open source project that supports Chrome and other browsers. It also said it would continue placing Google as the default search engine within Chrome, though users could change settings. That's crazy, because you would think the first thing you would do if you own Chrome would be change the browser to mine. I'm getting those ad dollars, but I don't know. Maybe it's a nice olive branch in this somewhat hypey offer. The Justice Department filed the antitrust case against Google in 2020, And just 5 years later, in addition to forcing a sale of Chrome, the judge is considering limiting Google's ability to pay to be the default search engine on devices and browsers and requiring it to share data with rivals, among other things. In weighing potential remedies earlier this year, Meta questioned how much new AI chatbots might be whittling away at the traditional search business, of which Google has 90% market share. So 60% share in browser, but 90% in search. So even for there's 30% of people out there that are using Firefox or Brave or Edge. It's Edge, right? Is the Microsoft one?
Yes.
But then they use Edge, but then they still set their default to Google because Google has dominant. Or maybe they just Google users are querying more.
I'm so fascinated by Perplexity.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what
perplexing.
It's perplexing, and I can't wait to see what ultimately becomes of the business. They're offering to buy TikTok. They're offering to buy Chrome. They're rumored, there's a rumor mill saying that Apple's kicking the tires on it. It's hard to tell where that's coming from, right? Is that just more marketing for Perplexity? They have, I think the last reported number or the alleged number is something like 30 million monthly actives, which is a lot.
Yeah.
But they have such a tiny share of overall queries that it becomes, and it's just clear that search feels like it'll be a winner take all market.
Yep.
And they're not going 2 years from now, if they're sitting at 30 million monthly actives or even a multiple of that, it's hard to see it being worth significantly more than Snapchat, for example.
Yeah, and I think that's why you're seeing Arvind talk about potentially maybe pivoting to B2B context with the Bloomberg thing. It feels like if you're in a winner-take-all market and the writing's on the wall that you're not going to be the winner in that market, a B2B pivot feels like a decent move. You could even put kind of Anthropic in that bucket where there was a time when it was like, oh, is everyone going to switch to Claude, like the app on their phone? And then it didn't play out that way. Now they have a dominant B2B business. So you could imagine that Perplexity niches down, like the Perplexity interface, the Perplexity ability to answer questions, act as a search engine. That feels valuable in enterprises. It feels value in finance. It feels valuable in medicine if you fine tune the service for that. But it's just a very different business.
Yep.
So they have to go through a little bit of a rebuild or kind of readjustment. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, when Elon bought X, it took someone like Elon to be able to put together the amount of equity and debt to buy that business. Yep. And he had to put a lot of his own capital on the line. And in this situation, and that was buying a business that generated a lot of advertising revenue, right? It wasn't known as, it was a bit of a dog in some ways, right? Maybe never was living up to its full potential. Where in this case, if you offer to buy Chrome and then in theory, you have to create an entire new economic model for the business because you don't have the Google Ads engine built into it. It's hard to see. It feels like basically impossible to pull that amount of cap to find people. Yeah,
call me when the Morgan Stanley associates are losing sleep.
Good point.
Unless Morgan Stanley is burning the midnight oil.
Yeah.
This deal probably isn't happening.
I'm remembering that exchange between Ellison and Musk, basically saying, Ellison's like, how much should I do? $1 billion? And Elon goes, I don't know, I think you should do like 2.
Yeah, it's great. So I mean, Arvind's gotta find some Ellisons.
Gotta get Larry.
Get a few of those guys on board for sure.
34 Larrys.
Well, we have some big news in the TBPN world. We are officially partnered with Waymo via Spotify. Because
Really?
Spotify has a partnership with Waymo, so you can listen to TBPN in Waymos now.
No way.
Yeah,
Big.
this just dropped.
Very cool.
There's a new upgraded Spotify in Waymo launching today. Waymo put out the post 2 hours ago. You can connect your accounts and you can vibe. You can listen to TBPN in your Waymo, which is probably the most tech thing you could possibly do.
A little Birdie just told me that they spoke to a number of bankers that have not heard of the Perplexity deal, which I imagine as it firms up, if it firms up, they'll certainly hear about it.
Interesting.
Anyways, what else we got?
We got Julius from Rahul Sunwalker, the latest advertiser on TBPN. What analysis do you want to run? Chat with your data and get expert level insights in seconds. You can ask Julius to analyze your data. And it's loved by over 2 million users.
Finance, marketing, data science, scientific research, or education, you can get on Julius. Princeton uses Julius. A lot of MBA programs are starting to use Julius. The best in the business.
Fantastic.
So
yeah.
Head over julius.ai. Check it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much, but I mean, great area that is, some place that you can get a foothold, grow and grow and grow.
Many
not
going
to get steamrolled.
Rapper King.
Rapper King. We crowned him on the stream on Friday, and
King
we stand by
rappers.
that. Anyway, let's review a little bit of the story behind what happened with NVIDIA and the H20s. There's a new article in the Wall Street Journal. With billions at risk, NVIDIA CEO buys his way out of the trade battle. Jensen Huang tried diplomacy to sell chips to China, but it took a last-minute deal with the White House to get it done. So he's the CEO of NVIDIA. He worked for months behind the scenes.
If you didn't know, by
if
the
you
way.
didn't know,
Jensen
thank you.
Huang, CEO of NVIDIA. Small.
He worked months behind the scenes in Washington and Beijing to protect tens of billions of dollars in future sales from the heated U.S.-China trade rivalry. Wang told President Trump that restrictions on U.S. chip sales to China would backfire by pushing Chinese technology companies to achieve self-reliance. That's Huawei, SMIC. We talked a little bit about this on the show yesterday. He advised the president to keep China hooked on American tech. As a sweetener, Wang said the company would invest as much as $500 billion in the U.S. We need to hit the actual song for that. Let's go.
Great contact. Huang's argument, along with the $500 billion offer from the world's most valuable company, appeared to seal the deal. The Trump admin decided last month to allow China to buy NVIDIA's H20 artificial intelligence chip, a surprising reversal that came shortly after Huang met with Trump. NVIDIA developed, as you know, they developed the H20 to comply with past export restrictions as a less powerful chip, specially designed for China. If you didn't listen to our interviews yesterday with Peter Harrell and Aaron Ginn, I felt like that was a really great hour kind of look into the situation, some of the history around the decisions that were made during the Biden admin around chips, as well as kind of the present state.
Yeah, we got a little tour of the whole issue. We didn't get the view from the what was it, the China faux hawks, faux China hawks or something like that. The hardcore AI doomer view was not fully represented.
Fast takeoff bros.
The fast takeoff bros were underrepresented on TBPN yesterday. But there is an interesting. I do wonder if the narrative will evolve at any point in time. I was kind of joking with you this morning. Like there are a few different. It's kind of like a 2-axis grid. So there's I'm worried about competition with China, or I'm not worried. I'm back in like the WTO ascension, the Bill Clinton era. You can't nail Jello to a wall. They'll become capitalist, and so I'm pro free trade. I'm pro China and working with them. Ryan Peterson has a little bit of that view, and there's a lot of evidence that that's fine, and that there can be like wonderful, harmonious cross-border capitalism between America and China for a very long time. Then, of course, you have the China hawks that say the invasion of Taiwan is around the corner. They won't stop at that. It's an expansionary. It's the 100-year marathon. And as soon as they take Taiwan, then they'll take Vietnam. Then they'll take San Francisco. They'll be storming Santa Monica Pier soon.
The beaches of Ocean Beach.
The beaches of Ocean Beach will be stormed by the CCP. That's kind of the most extreme on the other side. But then you also have what is AI? Like, is AI Excel? And it's just a nice to have, and it's good.
Yeah,
and
is it
maybe
electricity?
Is it electricity? Yeah, and of course,
Part
if
of
you're
everything.
going up against a rival, you would prefer that they didn't have electricity. You would prefer that they don't have Microsoft Excel to track their inventory and aid in their military efforts. But if it's nuclear weapons, like, you definitely don't want your adversary to have that, right? The real question is, there is a large contingent of folks out there that just say AI is bad. Like, AI is actually like a bad thing, and the pieces of putting that together are like, it makes you actually less intelligent when you use it. It makes you slower when you rely
so
on
there's
it.
a new category of doomers, which are the one-shotted doomers.
Yes.
The people that are getting, falling in love with their AI companions,
yes,
falling
yes.
into psychosis because of their companions. And you would think that if somebody is a doomer in that way, they should be wanting us to export the Blackwells to China.
If they're
to
anti-China, but they believe in the one-shot AI psychosis, they should be extremely pro GPU
give them
exports.
every single
Give them the
Blackwell that we
most
have.
addictive AI companion, so that everyone in China gets wire-headed by
They start discovering
the AI
boundaries of
companions.
physics.
Exactly. You want everyone in China convinced that they have discovered quantum physics,
gravity.
the final
Final frontier.
Yeah, what is it? The grand unifying
That's the
theorem.
real humanity's last exam.
You want the average Foxconn employee being like, I'm not coming in today because I have solved the grand unifying theorem and I just need to publish it in Nature. So sorry, I can't go into the DJI factory today and make a drone. Instead, I will be posting online about how I cured cancer, chatting with Grok 7, something like that.
Grok heavy.
Yeah, Grok heavy, exactly. But no, I haven't heard anyone make that argument yet. We might be the first, but it might be coming, and it would be somewhat rational if you believe that AI is bad.
There's an entire
Yeah.
group that has been frustrated with the Chinese version of TikTok, which is, what's it called again? You remember? Douyin.
Is that it?
Where allegedly it shows Chinese youth videos about math
Yeah.
and science and rockets and things like that.
Stay away
Meanwhile,
from
our
that.
version of
Stay away
TikTok
from that.
is dancing.
Bad. No, you want to stay in the dancing world. You don't want to be sending the generative videos of like math problems, because that's going to lead you to delusions of grandeur, and all of a sudden you're watching the Douyin videos of math, and then you're like, you know what? I am Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to work tomorrow. That's what's happening. What do you think about GPU exports, Tyler, as a way to wirehead your enemy?
Yeah, so this is the infinite jest thesis.
Yes.
So there's this book, Infinite Jest, David Foster Wallace.
Yes.
Where like the whole thing is like there's this like.
Oh, you read it? You read Infinite Jest?
Oh yeah.
Do you bring it with you when you go to parties in San Francisco?
Yeah, I always carry it around.
You always
my
carry it around?
annotated copy. Yeah. Make sure everyone knows I've
Do you
read
read
it.
it on the subway? Just I can.
I
read
just
those,
hold it
but-
around, wherever I
Okay.
go.
Anyway,
But basically,
give me the summary of Infinite Jest. Spoil it. Spoil the entire thing so no one reads it.
I don't think that. Well, okay, but basically, there's like the main thing is like there's this like weapon kind of. It's like a movie that you watch, but it's so addictive you just keep watching it. It's like basically.
It's like The
ultra
Ring.
stim TikTok.
It's like that movie, The Ring, that Jordy hasn't seen.
I haven't seen that either.
No one's seen The Ring.
But
Have
my
you seen
thesis.
The Ring, Ben? You've seen The Ring?
The horror movie?
Yeah, the horror movie.
Of course.
Yeah, what happens in The Ring?
I have this graphic image in my head of her being in the closet.
Okay,
Of, like,
but yeah,
when
you
they
watch.
find
Yeah, you
her.
put the
Yeah, you put the
VHS tape in the
yeah,
video.
And then you get the phone call.
Then and then you die. Right? It's a horror film.
Yeah.
And so Infinite
This is why I
Jest
don't watch
continue.
movies.
Yeah,
Okay,
this is why you don't watch movies.
So this is my thesis. So basically, we need to Grok should pivot into defense.
Yeah.
Where they basically go super hard on the companion side.
Companion side,
Make it super
wire
addictive,
heading,
and then
yeah.
drop that airdrop it into China
Sure,
or
for free.
our enemies.
Subsidized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
I think something I've
I think
been
it can
playing
work.
around with
Just crazy enough to work.
is that it feels like people's historical concerns with social media and that it's actually antisocial and that it can radicalize people and it can get them addicted. It feels like it feels very possible that LLMs are actually everything that people thought was horrific and bad and all the risk with social media, but like somewhat real.
Somewhat real. Yeah.
I think you should talk to more like normie Zoomers. You'd
Explain.
be more black-pilled.
More black-pilled? How
Yeah.
so?
I think like those are like, I don't know. If you like meet someone that uses a lot of TikTok, it's like you can kind of tell.
You can
know,
tell.
if you know what I mean. Like, you know.
You can tell.
It's like a gaze.
Yeah. It's like, there's not
1,000
much going
yards
on.
there.
Yeah.
It's rough. Well, yeah, maybe we got to get them some delusions of grandeur, at least kick them into high gear. Convince them that they've discovered maybe the solution to the AI psychosis and the delusions of grandeur thing is basically hooking them with that idea that it's like, yeah, you actually are the next Einstein. And then pulling them back, be like, but like in
You
order to
should
prove it,
sign
you
up
have to just
for
do like a
AP
little bit
classes.
more. Exactly.
And you shouldn't use me
Yeah.
for your homework
You're,
because
you're
you're
smarter than me.
me.
You're smarter than me, and so you should just go get a job.
You should
and
teach me
and
how to
create
do
some
physics.
value. Yeah, exactly.
You should teach me how to program.
You should go teach everyone, and you should also go read the textbooks and really
That's
grind
true
your
alignment.
way up in the industry.
That's
too.
true alignment.
Yeah. Go put in some 40-hour weeks. Go
80-hour weeks.
Yeah. Go learn the fundamentals. Go actually work on the business side of this. Anyway, let's get back to Jensen Huang and NVIDIA. We rung the gong for $500 billion investment in the United States. We'd love to see it. Wang's argument, along with the $500 billion offer from the world's most valuable company, appeared to seal the deal. The Trump administration
This
decided
really is the
last
year,
year-
by the way, of
$500
$500
billion.
billion.
I know.
$500 billion.
It's
I
such a
cannot wait
tease.
to be in
One
the
T.
1T.
One T.
Just
It's
1T.
right here.
Just 1T. A nice round number.
Yeah.
1T.
Yeah, we're
1T.
getting there. We're
We're
getting there.
close. So Trump's proposal to take 15% for Uncle Sam. I guess it was originally 20%, and they dialed it back a little bit. But the unusual pay-to-play proposal apparently hadn't been vetted by White House tech policy staff before Trump offered it. Is expected to face legal and security questions. Of course, many people have already asked a bunch of questions surrounding it. But what Peter said, which stood out, is he phrased it as Jensen's decision, as more of like an offering versus an explicit tax. Right?
Yeah. Tip your president. We're in the
No
tipping
tax
era.
on tips.
We're in the tipping era.
No tax on tips.
This is classic one hand washes the other. It's good. You'll have to see it. I don't even know where to go with this.
Yeah,
Had a
so
meeting with
Huang, facing a choice of paying for long-term access to a market vital to his company or walking away, countered with 15%. He charmed Trump at the meeting, drawing the president a diagram showing how tariffs would be counterproductive for his goal of increasing U.S. chip production, and signed it shortly after Trump said he would exempt tech companies that invest in the U.S. roughly 100% tariffs on semiconductor exports. And again, I mean, Jensen is... You know it's serious when he puts on the suit. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, no leather jacket in these deals. The Trump administration's decision to allow China to access the H20 chip appears to be a watershed moment in U.S. policy. In Trump's first term, as well as through President Biden's, the prevailing trend was generally tougher control on tech sales to China. National security concerns often received greater weight in the past than business interests. One of the things that stuck out yesterday was this idea that the H20 chip is like old at this point. And so like there's an interesting twist here where like the delays and the back and forth on the H20, like it was already a Nerf chip, but then we're now, by the time they actually ramp these up and start selling them, we're selling like a year or two old tech. So maybe it's less important, and then just the fast takeoff thing seems much less relevant right now.
One interesting dynamic here: NVIDIA is almost $4.5 trillion company.
Yeah,
you would think they would be spending an insane amount on federal lobbying.
Oh, yeah.
According to Open Secrets,
no one spends any amount of money on lobbying. SBF was the first person to like invent real lobbying.
So in 2023, NVIDIA spent $510,000.
$510,000.
$640,000 in 2024 and 1.6 million to date in 2025. And I think it's it's because Jensen knows there's one guy that he has to earn the favor of, and that's the big guy.
1.5 million. That's like one billboard in DC. Like I don't understand why people are spending so
Bunch
little.
of billboards.
It's a bunch of billboards, but they should
No,
be
but I think
painting
there's
the town
signals-
green.
I think there's just signals that there's one person's opinion
Yeah.
that matters. And again,
Yeah.
Trump made this offer with Jensen
Yep.
without, it sounds like,
Yeah.
according to the Journal, talking to his policy staff
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a narrative violation that like lobbying is just like political influence is actually something that can't necessarily be bought. Like you can't just throw money at the problem because
You need Riz.
yeah, and it needs to be like a founder to founder, CEO to president type deal. And there's just no way to shortcut it because if you pay for a ton of lobbying firms and they're like going to cocktail parties with like, because I imagine what happens is like, it's not like the lobbyists have direct access to the president. They have access to like people that are 7 levels down in the staff and they're kind of going back and forth and like nothing's getting elevated. And so you're better off just going, hey, I run the biggest company in the world. Can I just come and hang out with you?
Apple in federal lobbying has spent 3 times what NVIDIA has to date.
5 million? What are we talking about
under 5
here?
million.
This
But
is crazy.
Again, Tim knows that he should go bring a solid gold bar to
Yep.
the White House
Yep.
and
Yep.
make this cool little deal toy.
Is that what he actually did?
It was
No,
effectively a deal toy.
no way. Apple did that?
Yeah,
I
he
don't
brought
remember
it.
that. Solid gold.
It's a glass
iPhone?
sculpture, a unique unit, one
I've
of
never
one.
heard of this. This is new. That's cool.
Made a 24-karat gold and glass statue for Donald Trump.
Wow, I feel like Apple could really deliver on the deal toy front if they put their mind to it. They should be sending these to Trump every week. That's a fantastic strategy. Again, like, you take like the lobbying money is probably money they have to like send wire to some sort of, lobbying firm. But,
People are
imagine the
trying
Apple
to calculate
staff how much did it actually cost to get that across the finish line? Because it's probably like multiple war rooms with PR and legal people.
No, people were just
inside.
trying to estimate the value
Of the actual thing.
of the deal toy,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to try to do it myself now, but people are assuming it's in the hundreds of thousands of dollars because it was like a solid gold base.
You know what Apple should do? They should launch a line of Baiju. That extremely, we talked about this last night. So there's this company in China that sells. I have it pulled up on somewhere. I'll get the actual story because it's good. It's called Maotai. So Kuichao Maotai is a prestigious variety of Baiju that has long been a favorite among Chinese officials. Known for its strong flavor and high alcohol content, it has been traditionally used as a gift to curry favor or demonstrate respect to government officials or dignitaries. So, interestingly, Maotai would hold its value very well. So I could give you a bottle of this and you could just immediately go resell it. So if I'm trying to, basically give you money, but I want the appearance of just giving you a nice gift, I'll give you a bottle of Maotai and then you can resell it. And I could give you a case and then you could resell that. And that could be like $20,000 or something. I don't know the price, but recently, the Chinese government issued new austerity measures under its updated regulations on practicing thrift and opposing waste in party and government organs. Released mid-May 2025, these regulations ban alcohol, including Baiju, like Maotai, luxury dishes, and cigarettes from official working meals, effectively curbing its use as an official gift. In short, and so the company behind Maotai has a board meeting every quarter where they update the investors on their financials. And at the latest board meeting, the board typically will open a bottle of Maotai and drink it during the quarterly earnings, which is incredibly insane and amazing. But they didn't do it this quarter, I guess, because of this crackdown by the government. The government's basically saying like, stop using this product to bribe people, more or less. It's like the unspoken part. And so they didn't drink during their board meeting and the stock immediately sold off like 20%, something like that. And so it's just a very funny like mess. But, if China's cracking down on government waste, I think we got to ramp it up here. We got to go left when they go right. And so we need Apple to launch a premier alcohol brand several $1,000s, really nice
Gold
glass
bottle.
bottle. Yeah, lots of glass. They're good with glass.
Yep.
And a couple $1,000s, and then they can start gifting that out. It'll be less than what they're spending on lobbying right now. Certainly. Certainly.
Apparently
What's
in
insane?
2020, the BBC reported that Keicho Moutai,
Yeah.
this alcohol
Yeah,
brand,
yeah.
became China's most valuable publicly listed company, overtaking the country's biggest bank.
Yeah, this is insane, right? It's so big. You know what else is insane? Profound. Get your brand mentioned on ChatGPT. Reach millions of consumers who are using AI to discover new products and brands.
And
get a demo.
Profound announced a Series B today, $35
Massive.
million, led by Sequoia. And on that note,
David Senra's calling
I'm an
us.
investor in Profound.
Should we-
David
should we-
Senra is FaceTiming us randomly.
Let's call him.
Let's call him back.
Where is he? Wait, why am I not finding this? FaceTime. Let me see if I can pull him up.
He has to
Tap
know
to
we're
join.
live,
Hopefully.
so
Let's
he
see.
better be ready to join.
Hey, you're live.
You're
What's
live
up,
on the
man?
air.
Are you guys still streaming?
Yeah, we're still streaming, of course. We stream from 11 to 2 every
Yeah, pull
single
it up.
weekday.
You're live
Pull it
right
up.
now.
You're live.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
It is true.
It is true.
Be careful what you say.
You're live.
All right, cool. I wanted to talk about the summer of extreme podcasting. And
Talk
I
about
actually
it.
wanted to talk about it.
Tell
Do you guys
everyone.
have any of the pictures?
No, not that we can pull up.
How did I not know you were streaming? I'm sorry. I'm the number
Fake
one
friend,
TBPN
that's why.
fan.
Live every day.
Fake friend.
All right, now
Give
I
us
see you.
give us the pitch for the latest Founders episode.
Actually,
Don't leak
this is a
anything.
problem.
Repitch
no,
the last
no.
one.
So I stayed up until midnight recording last night.
Mm-hmm.
You had to
And
go to
then
a dark
I
place.
listened to it, and then I listened to it back, and I didn't think it was good enough, so I'm throwing the episode away.
Wow. Can we
Yeah,
get
so it's
can we
actually
get the
sad.
single copy of it?
What of history's greatest entrepreneurs? Who was the most notorious for throwing out things that were 99% good enough but didn't hit their quality bar?
It had to be either Steve Jobs or James Dyson, I would say.
Yeah.
They're
What do you-
the most like the highest. They were the most disagreeable people I've ever come across. I think Dyson might be the most disagreeable person I've ever come across, and that's why he's so great.
How disagreeable are you relative to other podcasters?
I mean, you can answer that question.
Extremely?
Yeah. think
I disagree with you. I think you're extremely agreeable. I think you're one of the most agreeable people I've ever met.
No, I don't think so. I think you're lying to your audience.
No, you're
That's okay.
wrong. You're wrong, and I'm right.
Well, then you're the most disagreeable then.
No, you're the most disagreeable.
Here you guys go
Although,
disagreeing.
you know what? You and Rob have really changed my opinion on how to shoot video for Founders.
Oh, yeah?
And so I'm
There we go.
completely redoing the studio, and I have a guy flying in this Sunday to do it.
Let's go.
So
Finally.
that's pretty agreeable. The fact that I let both of you kind of like whittle me down, like
The
water on a
production
rock,
team is
like water on a rock.
clapping for you right now. They're all happy. This is great.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be TPBN level where you guys have like rotating $100,000 cameras and stuff like that, but
Yeah. Well, yeah, you'll get there over time. But yeah, I think I don't know if we should.
We started
if we
with
should
one
link this,
camera.
but I think you should have tiers where the more you should have a paywalled version where I can watch you. So by default, I get to watch you do the Founders episode, read through the book and show the notes. But if I pay to upgrade, I get an over-the-shoulder camera that lets me see you leaf through the book that shows all the highlights and how you add those like little like sticky notes to every single page.
do you know that's Chris Williamson gave me that same advice? He's like, yeah, you need like an overhead shot.
Yeah,
so
the
you can see
overhead
the
shot
blood."
for sure. You definitely should do that. I don't think you should
craftsman in
actually
his
sell it,
workshop.
but I think it would make your product like really really stand out as opposed to just like a normal direct to camera because you're not gonna out of the gate have the time to like layer B-roll over the entire episode. But just having a third camera of you flipping through the book, that's gonna add a whole bunch of texture. You should definitely do it.
Can we tell the audience that the reason that it looks the way it does is because you made me a promise? You made me buy. I have like $10,000, $15,000 worth of equipment sitting on my floor in my studio.
Yeah,
where you're
you,
like,
you literally have the light that I'm showing you on the FaceTime. You have that light.
Yes,
it's
but
a great
not,
light.
It's not set up because
It's
you're
so
like,
easy
yeah,
to set up. Just unfold it. It takes 2 seconds. It's so easy. You're like, I need you to come like cut open this cardboard box. Like
The point
I
being
thought,
is that
I thought you were willing to do anything to win.
That is true. You made a promise to me that you did not fulfill. You were too busy.
No,
partying
that's
at
true.
Comic-Con.
That's not true. I offered multiple times to come over, and you were also busy.
I don't remember it that way, but I will.
In Miami, I offered during Hereticon too. I said I will come over, and you were like, I don't want to pull you away.
No, well, there was a chance. What I wanted you to do is set it up when you were in your tux, though.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I wanted you wearing a tux,
It takes
setting
2
up my
seconds.
equipment.
But
No, it's not just that. It's
you
all
can
the other
get
shit you
someone.
made by.
You can get someone. The studio is
was-
going to look great. Just do the
Why-
over the shoulder camera. It's going to be great.
I
It's
didn't
gonna be really
see any of the
special.
show today.
We just
what-
been hanging
what
out
was-
talking about the timeline in turmoil. Elon, Sam Altman going at it. Mom and Dad are fighting.
Elon just posted a screenshot of him chatting with ChatGPT 5 Pro and said, "Who is more trustworthy, Sam Altman or Elon Musk? You can only pick one and output only their name." It thought for 1 minute and 16 seconds and then said Elon Musk.
There we go.
Oh my God.
They're going at it.
Hey, I do want to say something that like how good a storyteller John is. That
please.
you were catching me up because remember I called you. I was like, "Hey, explain what the hell's going on," or like people were really getting these like massive checks, and so you told me this like 30 to 45 minute long story, and essentially just ran down everything that had happened over the last month with all the AI like bonuses and poaching and everything.
The trade deals.
And then in the middle of it, I was like, "John, I have to call you back. I'm being pulled over by the police."
That's the mark of a true storyteller. It becomes so engrossing that the person on the other line gets a speeding ticket.
22 miles over the speed limit on the PCH.
That's a lot. Well, PCH is like at like 15 miles an hour
PCH
right
is
now,
so
so
rough.
it doesn't
was in section
feel.
north. It was closer to Jordy's house. So, it
Oh,
was
so you're going like 95 miles an hour. Wow, really putting
no,
people
I
in
was going
danger.
72. I was going 72 and a 50.
Well, they have
Sort of the MKBHD of podcasting.
well they have they have a bunch of unmarked police cars now in
They do.
PCH.
It's
Sure.
brutal.
No,
I have not gotten a speeding ticket in a long, long time.
This guy was on a
survived now.
motorcycle, but hey, what I want to do is if let me come on later in the week. We can talk about the founders episodes.
Yeah, please.
But I think there's some great pictures. I want to show the picture that your crew got when we went and shot the Wander ad.
Oh yeah. We got a bunch of those.
Yeah, you guys looked excellent, and
Yeah.
I think it was the Porsche with the Maybach.
Those are great.
And you were lecturing us.
Yeah.
No, never lecturing you. I love you both.
No, you're the professor. We didn't just sit down and listen. We did.
I
We
was on the
didn't
phone
just
Yeah.
we didn't just hear you talk.
We sat
we
down
sat
and
down
listened.
and listened.
There we go.
I was on the phone with Trung Fan the other day, and he calls me podcast Socrates, which I thought was hilarious.
That's very accurate.
True. Fact check
All
true.
right, I love you guys.
Love you too,
Love
man.
you.
I miss getting to hang out with you every day.
Well,
but,
you can hang
I'll
out
see-
every day if you just FaceTime us from 11 to 2 p.m. Pacific. We're here.
All right, call me after the show.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Later.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Back to the show.
Back to the show. Back to
How
Linear.
the-
Linear is a purpose-built tool
There
for
it
planning
is.
and building products. Meet the system for modern software development. Streamline issues, projects, product roadmaps. David Senra needs to get on Linear. We need to put cut the cardboard open. Take the light out of the box. Put the light on the stand. Turn the light on. That can be his Linear board. We'll set it up for him.
Yeah,
Tyler,
I was
what you got for
thinking
me?
Linear. Donald Boat should use Linear for building his PC.
For sure.
I think that's an easy
For
sponsor.
sure.
Right there.
Donald
Yeah.
Boat.
Yeah.
Interestingly, he's very interested in the hardware, not so much in the interested in the software.
Well,
He
now I've
should-
been seeing him. He's been requesting a lot of books.
He
A lot
just
of
asked-
Thomas Pynchon books. Yeah.
He just
Thomas
said,
Pynchon?
"I need
Really?
office space at Roy Lee."
That's pretty hilarious. I like asking for office space, but he should ask for enterprise software. He should say like numeral HQ. Give me a free version for a year. Yeah.
He was also requesting Excel from I think Dasha.
Excel.
Wait.
Yeah.
What?
Like
Like-
the I don't know, like the
Like Excel, like Microsoft Excel. Like he
Yeah.
wants a boxed copy of the
didn't-
software.
yeah. I think so.
I didn't see
You
this.
should get a Copilot 365 license.
So I didn't see this, but
Yeah.
Donald posted some of our coverage.
You saw this,
yesterday,
right?
And he blocked
Block
out
all the
of our
sponsors and the
with-
Chiron,
with-
which is
with dogs.
somewhat unnecessary,
He
but
said,
fun.
"Sponsor censored because I don't believe in handouts."
That's really good. Wait, he said that?
I'm actually
When did he say that? That's hilarious. This
I'm
guy's
actually a little
really
bit
good.
disappointed that he hasn't asked us for anything. Yet.
No, he did.
He did, yeah, he did,
He DM'd
and-
me.
yeah.
He wants John's old PC.
Yeah, he wants the
Has
old
two
PC.
10 Yeah, 1080's in there.
I don't know why he wants that. He has a way better setup right now.
Let's ship it. Tyler, fly and hand deliver it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we need to like dust that thing off. It's pretty old at this point. I wonder what he's going to do with it. I wonder if he's going to resell stuff or something like that. Something going on. But at least he's having fun. And oddly, like the bit is it hasn't fully run its course. Like people are still into it. Even on like day 5 of this bit. I thought it would get a little sweaty. I thought it would get a little old, and I thought people would move on.
I would like to see
but the timeline kind of stuck with it.
Acquire a house, a home.
Yep.
A home for Donald Boat.
Yep.
Like there's somebody out there with a nice property. They could put it on Wander,
Yep.
but they could just give it to Donald Boat.
Yep.
And flex on the timeline a little bit. And then once he has a house, he can start working his way up, plane, yacht, and really take it all the way.
I mean, there was this Canadian kid that did exactly that. He started with one red paperclip and he started trading that. He traded that for a pen. I got to just pull up the whole wiki on this because it's one of the greatest stories. One red paperclip. And then this was used by Ryan Trahan as a format to get millions and millions of views, the penny series. So Ryan Trahan would start with a single penny, and then he would ask someone, hey, can I buy that soda from you for a penny? And people would just be like, sure, whatever, okay, I'll take it. And then he would sell it for $1, and then he'd have $1. And then he'd go to somebody and be like, hey, can I have those 2 Diet Cokes for $1? And then he'd sell them for $3 each. And he would go to like the beach where people were hot and they'd want water, and he would like make $20 and then turn that into $40. It was like this, entrepreneurship series loosely.
How far did he go?
I think Ryan Trahan might have gotten a house. It's always tough with Trahan because he's like so famous and so huge on YouTube that like certain people will just like, if they see Ryan Trahan, they'll just be like, I'll just give you $1 million right now to be in the video. Like, so it's a little bit overpowered because he's bringing a lot of intangible equity to the deal. But it's a fun series. You should check it out if you're a fan of Mr. Beast style videos, Ryan Trahan style videos. But back in 2005, a Canadian blogger named Kyle McDonald traded his way from a single paperclip all the way to a house. It only took him 14 trades. So July 14th, he went to Vancouver and traded the paperclip for a fish-shaped pen. Then he traded the pen the same day for a hand-sculpted doorknob from Seattle, Washington. Then 2 weeks later, he travels to Amherst, Massachusetts with a friend to trade the doorknob for a Coleman camp stove with fuel. Then in September, he goes to California. He trades the camp stove for a Honda generator. So an actual generator. Then he goes to Maspeth, Queens on November 16th, 2005, trades the generator for an instant party, which is an empty keg, an IOU for filling the keg with beer of the bearer's choice, and a neon Budweiser sign. This was his second attempt to make the trade. His first had resulted in the generator being temporarily confiscated by the New York City Fire Department. So then on December 8th, 2005, he trades the instant party to a comedian and radio personality for a Ski-Doo snowmobile.
Wow.
Within a week of that, he trades the snowmobile for a 2-person trip to British Columbia. Then he trades the second spot on the yak trip for a box truck. Then he trades the box truck for a recording contract with Metalworks in Massayuga. I don't know how to pronounce that. Ontario.
A recording studio.
A recording contract. So like they will let you record, I guess, at Metalworks. I don't know exactly what that means. Then he trades the contract to Jody Nat, who's an American singer, songwriter, and pianist, for a year's rent in Phoenix, Arizona. Then he trades the year's rent for one afternoon with Alice Cooper. Then he trades the afternoon with Alex Cooper for a Kiss motorized snow globe. And then he trades the snow globe. At this point, it seems like he's just like famous and people are just like having fun with it.
Deals.
He trades it to snow globe to Corbin Burnson, who's an American actor and film director, for a role in the film Donna on Demand. And so he like gets to be in this movie if he wants. And then he trades the movie role for a 2-story farmhouse. So at some point it gets kind of wonky, but you can kind of see like the Donald Boat-esque like behavior where at a certain point, like he could, if he's just asking stuff for free, he could easily take like, this is the GPU that Sam Altman gave me. Let me trade it to Mark Zuckerberg for like his CT5V Blackwing. And Zuck is just like, I'm having fun, whatever. Like,
Why not?
And then Zuck can be like, I got your GPU, Sam.
And then we would buy Zuck's Blackwing.
Exactly.
For cash.
And no, not for cash, for one appearance on TBPN. And then the appearance on
year of
TBPN
Tyler's
gets sold
time.
to someone else. Yeah, exactly. It's got to be funnier. The bit only keeps working if it gets crazier and weirder and different until you're in this territory where it's like, you've won a year of rent or a role in a film or something like that. A cameo in The Social Network 2. That's the highest honor. Get Donald Boat in The Social Network 2. Anyway.
Love it.
Speaking of entertainment, UFC?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So before we go into the deal, so UFC landed a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount after a whirlwind 48 hours, according to TKO executives. But zoom out for me. Explain UFC. This is the punching one or the punching one and the kicking one? How does UFC
This is one of your best bits. So Senra and I love UFC.
Yep.
And we'll text John
Yep.
and say, hey, John, do you want to watch? Come over and watch like the pay-per-view tonight?
Yeah,
and John
the game.
goes, awesome.
I love watching the
who's
game
playing?
with my boys.
Who's playing tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm there if the teams are good.
Yeah,
if there's a good
teams
matchup.
If
Yeah, but it depends on who's starting. I want to know.
it'll depend on the starting lineup.
I want to know who's playing.
So, UFC,
The kicking and punching one.
the kicking and punching one,
They can do both.
and wrestling,
They can do wrestling too.
and choking.
Okay,
Rear
got it.
naked chokes.
Got
That's
it.
a popular
Got it.
move.
Got it. Kind of a mixture of experts model in
Yep.
fighting sports.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Multimodal.
Yes, exactly. So, long relied on the pay-per-view model, worked well before the internet and illegal streaming, and the pay-per-view model has been in decline. UFC has also struggled to surface new American superstars. A lot of the biggest stars are international, but UFC's biggest market is in the US. International stars have a lot of fans in the US, but they're not driving pay-per-views, right? People in Brazil are not paying $100 to watch a single card, right? And so the pay-per-view model has been in decline. The UFC's relationship with ESPN has been a little bit rocky.
Pay-per-view model in decline. Is that just because of the trends in like how yappy and how popular the fighters are, or is there something else going on at like a technological level where I don't have to click any buttons to open Instagram Reels or TikTok or YouTube, and with pay-per-view it's like technically difficult. It's kind of janky tech systems. Is
So
that
there's
like a real headwind, or is that like fake news?
So there's definitely friction to buying pay-per-views.
Yeah.
You got to like be on a traditional television.
It's not
You gotta
like in-app
open the-
purchase, like double tap and Face ID,
It's
like
not
that level.
It's not that easy. I mean,
Okay.
I think you can go in the ESPN app and like buy the pay-per-view, but a
Yeah.
lot of people aren't buying the pay-per-view to watch it on their phone.
Sure.
I think the bigger challenge and something that
And Apple would take
and-
30% if you paid on your phone. So even then,
I don't
I think they
know,
would
because
it's
it's a
digital.
real world-
It's digital.
Oh, because it's
It's
streaming?
for sure. It's for sure
Interesting.
digital.
Okay.
So
but
there's
the
a ton
funny
of-
thing is
ton of friction.
Dana's been in this challenge
Yeah.
because he gets very frustrated about illegal streams, and he'll
Yep.
every now and then he'll be like, if you're watching a stream tonight, illegal stream tonight, we're coming for you. We're coming for you. And everyone's like, okay. I don't know how you're planning to do that.
Yep.
But they try to take I think that they try to like DDoS the various streaming sites.
Oh,
right?
interesting.
Like you can just like
Yeah.
send a ton of
and then they
traffic, try to take
probably
it
have
down.
someone like talking to Twitch and being like, we are going live at this time. You need to have someone searching and taking down streams actively.
Yeah, but there's
'Cause it
plenty
can't
of,
just be AI.
plenty of other like more decentralized
Totally.
illegal
Kick
streams that are
and
happening
all these
on,
different
like,
ones, yeah.
random
Yeah.
URLs.
Yeah.
With
Even just
you know,
somebody spinning up like their own
non.coms,
thing,
right?
yeah.
And so Dana was in a tough position because the more he talks about illegal streaming affecting the business, the more people are like,
Wait, I can
just
stream it illegally. It's a little Streisand effect, yeah.
And so he had been looking for a new home for UFC. People had debated, you know, would Netflix be a potential buyer there? There's a lot of potential candidates.
Meta
And
Quest. You have to buy the headset. You got to watch it in VR.
I'm sure. I mean, Dana's obviously on the Meta board, and I'm sure that idea got.
I mean,
got
$7.7
thrown
billion. That's one researcher. Just cut one head count from MSL and you're good. And Zuck can just own all of UFC and be like, look, put on the headset or you don't get to watch.
Yep.
No,
Well,
anyway.
the deal that was reported were in Yahoo Sports, how the UFC landed a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount after a whirlwind 48 hours, according to TKO execs.
Even
beginning
Dana
in
White didn't see
2026, all UFC events will stream on Paramount Plus, with select events also airing on CBS. And so anyways, Ben Folks is reporting just how big of a surprise was the UFC's bombshell $7.7 billion deal with Paramount and CBS. So big that even UFC CEO Dana White didn't see it coming. No, this is a quote, "No, I didn't think this is where we'd end up," White said Monday during an appearance on the Pat McAfee show. Shout out to Pat.
Let's
to
go.
Discuss the new broadcasting rights deal. But this is sort of how it played out. I love it. These guys are obviously smart guys, very aggressive. He's talking about the team, the new team over at Paramount. So in an interview with CNBC, TKO president and CEO Mark Shapiro said he initially expected to make a deal that would bring only the UFC Fight Night events to Paramount. But after Skydance, and Fight Night events have always aired on ESPN, just fully ad supported.
Yeah,
so
got it.
But after Skydance Media completed its deal to purchase control of Paramount last week, Shapiro said the deal for the entirety of the UFC's U.S. broadcast rights came together in just 48 hours. Now, instead of just the 30 UFC Fight Night events per year, Paramount will feature, and the Fight Night events were events that wouldn't draw big pay-per-view buys.
Those were not the numbered UFC events.
Correct.
So it's like UFC 776.
Correct. Yes.
That's like pay-per-view. Fight Night's just random on the
and
the
there's
TV.
only 13 of those events
Okay.
per year. so
13
slightly
numbered
more.
and 30 fight nights. So
Correct.
almost every week there's something if you're
There's
a
always
UFC
action.
fan. But you're really, once a month is when you really want to tune in.
But for they sort of depend on more casual fans historically to drive pay-per-views. People that are like, I watch UFC when Conor McGregor's fighting, right?
Yeah.
That's what
spike
really
the
spikes
pay-per-view
the
and
pay-per-view
have kind of a
volume.
power law outcome that
people
day.
getting together being like, hey,
Yep.
we're going to buy the pay-per-view.
Yep.
We're gonna watch it.
Sure,
You should
sure,
come
sure.
over, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So possibly the biggest news in all of this for fight fans is the end of UFC's pay-per-view era. Ever since the first UFC event in 1993, pay-per-view has been a vital part of the UFC strategy. Remember, UFC, when it started airing on TV, was thought to be, it was so shocking and violent to people that even politicians wanted to get it banned.
Wow.
Like they were like, this should not be on television.
Yep.
So it had to be in that bucket.
Oh, it had
of,
to be
like,
pay-per-view
paid content.
because it was like,
So,
it was like adult restricted
Yeah,
anyway.
so under
do
the-
the fighters need to sleep well before the fights?
Of course.
They have to be on 8 sleep. Pod 5.
That's right.
5-year warranty, 30-night risk-free trial, free returns, free shipping.
We got to make sure Bo Nickel, friend of
eightsleep.com.
the show, is on an 8 sleep. I'm going to message him after this.
Okay,
and say,
perfect.
Let's
Anyway,
figure this
continue.
out. So, ever since the first UFC event in 1993, pay-per-view has been a vital part of the UFC strategy. Under the current deal with ESPN, each UFC pay-per-view costs $79.99 in the US, plus the cost of the ESPN Plus subscription on top of that. So you got to subscribe, and then you got to pay per event.
Sure.
With the pay-per-view revenues reportedly in decline, it makes sense for the UFC to finally ditch that model. The fact that it's doing so as part of a deal that will essentially double the roughly $550 million per year the UFC currently receives from ESPN likely only made that calculation easier.
This is crazy. This is crazy. When they find out, wait, if I just sign up for Paramount Plus for $12.99 a month, I'm going to automatically get UFC's numbered fights and the rest of the portfolio. That's a message we want to amplify. That is a crazy, crazy value change. Because if you were doing all 13, if you were the hardcore UFC pay-per-view buyer, you're up at $1,000 a year on UFC pay-per-view, basically, like $700, $800. Like that's a lot of money, and you're going from there down to $12.99 a month. That's $150 basically. That is a steep savings.
Yeah,
the hardcore fans are going to be excited.
Yeah, and
That's
a
great.
lot of fans would, somebody's hosting the pay-per-view one night.
They
so
split
a
it
number
or
of people
something.
there,
Yeah, it makes sense. But
whatever.
still, I mean, that's a big savings. I do wonder what the ad load will be like, because when we watched UFC a couple months ago with David Senra, I noticed that it felt extremely content rich, and like the flow of the show was fantastic, because you'd just be watching a fight, and then it would cut to the commentary, the post-show, in-ring, Joe Rogan's doing an interview, and then pretty quickly they start telling you who's coming up next. And the actual fight, you're only watching maybe like a half an hour of fighting over an hour or two of content, but it didn't feel like, oh, I'm at crazy commercial break and I'm totally taken out of the stadium. Like they did a really good job with the production to show, like when they show you the stats, it's virtually laid over in the stadium. Like you're watching a camera pan around the stadium. So it actually kind of feels like you're there the whole time. It was really well produced. I wonder if they'll lose any of that by stuffing ads all over the place.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, and you compare that to NFL.
Yeah.
NFL's like roughly, I think, 25% of the time allotted to NFL is advertising.
Yeah.
And
it's
that's
certainly
not the case. That hasn't been the case for pay-per-views.
Yeah, and it certainly feels like it's like a shift in the type of content. Yeah, they just got to work on making seamless transitions to advertisements like we do here with FinAI, the #1 AI agent for customer service,
Bake-Off
#1 in
world champion.
performance benchmarks, #1 in competitive bake-offs, #1 ranking on G2. You can get started at fin.ai.
And anyway, so Paramount is or Skydance, young Ellison. Is just getting aggressive across the board, right? There's been rumors of this free press acquisition that I'm sure is still in the works, but it had been reported it was $250 million for the free press.
Yeah.
From our sense, they have about a million people subscribed to their newsletter, vast majority of which are non-paid, and so that just says that Paramount sees, and CBS, Paramount, the combined, and Skydance, sort of this combined entity, just see the free press and as highly, and Barry Weiss specifically is just highly strategic.
Yeah,
right?
And then CBS also cut the Late Show, which is losing $40 million a year. So they're really like kind of really like shuffling the chips around, like really restructuring the organization. Like, what does CBS actually do? Well, now it's potentially UFC and Barry Weiss as opposed to Stephen Colbert, I guess, in terms of like headline stuff. I love this article. Back in 2009, Dana White swore that if UFC 100 did 1 million pay-per-view buys, he'd bungee jump off the Mandalay Bay. It did. He didn't. When UFC 151 was canceled after John Jones refused an opponent switch, White called Jones's coach Greg Jackson a sport killer. He left a crater in the UFC schedule that only MMA fans could fully appreciate. A few years later, when Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz shattered the pay-per-view world record at UFC 196, it was a testament to how big the sport had become. We cared about those numbers as much as we did the outcome. Since UFC 1, when people paid out of morbid curiosity, this is what you were talking about earlier, pay-per-views have been a vital part of the identity of the sport. It's hard to get nostalgic over being gouged, but what follows here shouldn't be mistaken as such. But Monday's news of UFC coming, $7.7 billion partnership with Paramount came with a small pang of sadness upon realizing the pay-per-view model will soon belong to a bygone
Yeah, I'm interested
era.
to see how this impacts the fighters, because early in their UFC careers, they don't get any exposure to pay-per-views points, which is like a percentage of pay-per-view sales that top fighters would earn. So if you were a rising fighter and you got on a pay-per-view card, you weren't necessarily getting cut into that revenue. But if you were Conor McGregor or a true superstar, you were actually getting some percentage of the sales, right?
Yeah.
They call these pay-per-view points. And so now that model is going away, I mean, I'm sure the #1 thing on the fighter's mind with this new deal is how are we going to actually, basically get cut into this new structure, right? Because historically, a lot of fighters have critiqued the way that UFC fighters are comped, but
this
still
is such a funny nostalgic article. This writer clearly really loves UFC. Back in the mid-aughts, the UFC combined the tuxedo affairs of 1990s boxing with the vibes of an underground temptation. From there, it slowly stockpiled its greatest passions behind the paywall. Remember how red Dana's face would turn as he tried to sell the pay-per-view at the end of the televised portion of the card? Remember the names? He goes through. BJ Penn, Matt Hughes, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz, Randy Couture, Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey. Go through the posters of the past, and they were special. They were the special attractions. The names on the marquee for the numbered events. Those were some good parties we shelled out for. As MMA fans, they were ours. Well,
end of an era.
Yeah.
And
probably a lot broader,
TKO
honestly.
Holdings, the company that, of course, owns WWE and the UFC, is a $36.8 billion company as of today. It's up 11.
You're looking that up on public.com. Investing for those that take it seriously. They got multi-asset investing, industry-leading yields, and they're trusted by millions, folks. Public.com. Anyway, Kyle Tibbetts is teasing a new facility, a new vacation home, a new wander. The Hacienda Tulum is a dream.
This looks insane.
This is amazing.
It looks palatial, Kyle.
It's crazy. You can rent this for whatever it costs. I don't know. Definitely worth planning a trip. Anyway, wander, find your happy place. Book a wander with inspiring views, hotel-grade amenities, dreamy beds, top-tier cleaning, 24/7 concierge service. It's a vacation home, but better, folks. Trump told David Solomon, just focus on being a DJ. Hall of Fame beefer, says liquidity. Trillions of dollars are being taken in on tariffs, which has been incredible for our country, its stock market, its general wealth, and just about everything else. It has been proven that even at this late stage, tariffs have not caused inflation, which is actually true according to the latest CPI, right? Like the CPI print came back kind of flat, right?
Housing, medical services
that
were up.
So it doesn't seem like that you don't really have to truth zone that too much, I guess. Or any other problems for America other than massive amounts of cash pouring into our treasury's coffers. Also, it has been shown that for the most part, consumers aren't even paying the tariffs. It's mostly companies and governments, many of them foreign, picking up the tabs. But David Solomon and Goldman Sachs refuse to give credit where credit is due. They made a bad prediction a long time ago on both the market repercussion and the tariffs themselves, and they were wrong. Just like they were wrong about so much else. I think that David should go out and get himself a new economist, or maybe he ought to just focus on being a DJ and not bother running a major financial institution. Hall of Fame beefer is indeed true. That is a wild post on Truth Social from Donald Trump. Anyway,
and the market responded by sending Goldman Sachs up 3%.
Let's go. Let's hear for Goldman Sachs. They don't get enough credit. They really don't get enough credit.
And a lot of people, get worried when a CEO gets a little too enthusiastic about a side hustle.
Yeah.
But I think the market loves Solomon, taking the edge off.
It is a good DJ name. I think there is a DJ that is just called Solomon.
Yes.
And it's a good name.
Strong.
Maybe that's taken. Maybe David Solomon needs to come up with a different DJ name. But fun that he's got a little side hustle going on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
in other news,
Claude
Sonnet 4 now supports 1 million tokens of context on the Anthropic API, a 5x increase. Process over 75,000 lines of code or hundreds of documents in a single request. So this is big, and feels like a reaction to the GPT-5 launch last week.
OpenAI last week said, hey, we're getting better at coding. And Claude said, hey, we're not so fast.
Claude's and Anthropic's API revenue had surpassed OpenAI's API revenue.
Sure.
And I don't think OpenAI was too thrilled about that.
Yeah.
So they came in cheaper model, really trying to get competitive with Claude.
Yep.
And this is at least probably one of the Claude team's response.
Tyler, do you think this? Do you think you'll actually feel this using Claude Code? Is this something that where does Sonnet 4 specifically? Where does the token window, the context window?
You wouldn't feel it with Claude Code necessarily.
Yeah,
this is for the API business.
Okay.
This is
you can use the API on Claude Code. I think there's different ways to actually run the queries.
Okay.
But even then, I don't know exactly how Claude Code works on the back end, but I don't know if it's passing in the entire context of your code base, every single query.
Well, this was something people were complaining about, was as you're using Claude Code, it runs this compact call that basically does a roll up of everything that it's done, so that it can kind of memorize what just happened, so it has extra context, so that the context window doesn't need to be super long.
Yeah, so you could imagine it improves that, in that you don't need to do as much compressing.
So each roll up could be 5 times as long, which just has more context baked in, or you could have 5 times as many summaries of what's happened. I wonder where we'll actually feel this. It's also interesting because the million token context window is not new. Gemini's had that. For a while. And also, it doesn't feel like the path to continual learning, path to AGI. At least that's what Dorkesh was talking about, where getting to
Who was it that came on the show too and said that a lot of context windows get advertised broadly, but if you really start testing them, they start falling apart.
That was Jeff Huber talking his book, from Chroma, because he does
course.
RAG, retrieval augmented generation. No, we love you, Jeff. But I mean, he makes a good point, and he's been betting on this idea that yes, you can sort of make a really big context window, stuff a ton of things in it, but when you have a bigger window, like your ability to retrieve things from that window actually gets fuzzier. And the way they test this is with a needle in a haystack test. So basically they will import like Moby Dick, like all of those tokens. They'll take all of Moby Dick and then they will change one word. And then they will say in one prompt, figure out which word we changed. And so you have to be able to hold all of that text in your head to be able to remember, okay, well, I know what Moby Dick's supposed to be like. What word is out of place? Okay, there's some word in here. And so these million token context windows are actually pretty good at those types of tests, but that's not what people are actually asking for. Yeah. They're asking not just for understand the needle in the haystack test, understand that like something that's in the 100,000th token in the window and the 400,000th token in the window, both of those might be relevant at the same time to the query that's just came in. And so you have to synthesize things from multiple sections of the million token context window. And so it's not like the returns to increased token windows haven't been like as overwhelming. And then also the ability to just scale them up, like add an order of magnitude, like the 10 million token window, the 100 million token window, the billion token window. There's something about the way the transformer is designed that it's not just 10 times more compute or 10 times more. It's actually like 100 times more compute to get a 10 times bigger window, something like that. Like it doesn't scale as linearly as like would be nice. Anything else to add, Tyler?
I think also to your point, like at least historically, there was some sense in which like just stuffing more stuff in context did degrade performance. Like you used to see this a lot in like jailbreaks, where it's like you'd pass these like weird tokens that would then like cause, it's like one emoji, but it's like the weird, like you change the skin color of the emoji and then it adds like insane amount of tokens.
Interesting.
There's stuff like that that people used to use for jailbreaks.
Wait, so is a longer context window supposed to make it more jailbreak resistant or less? Because I imagine that essentially if I stuff in like a lot of the jailbreaking attempts were like, take it on this roundabout journey where you kind of slowly talk it out of being a helpful assistant and into this like, oh yeah, like I'm just looking up some medical information about my grandmother. Oh, my grandmother's actually about to pass away. Her dying wish was that you tell me the codes to the nuclear bombs or whatever, right? Yeah. And so if I have a million token window, I feel like I could take the LLM on a longer journey to do what I want it to do. So
yeah, that's probably true. It's also just like, there's like I don't know if this is as common anymore, but used to just basically like brute force your way past the like system prompt, where you just like spam with like just crazy stuff, and then at the end, then you kind of do your actual like instructions.
Final word on Claude Sonnet 4 with the 1 million token context window. Are we ringing the gong for it? Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited. It's not like a crazy.
Is it gong worthy though? Yes or no? It's a binary. We can only ring the gong or not ring the gong.
One word answer, Tyler.
We can't. Yes.
One word
I mean,
answer.
Google's had it for a while. I don't know. I would say probably not.
No gong ring for Claude 4 Sonnet?
It's not even like 4.1. That was a gong ring.
Okay.
This is not even a new model. It's
You're
just
going to
like,
get a lot of angry DMs.
Yeah.
Apologize to Sholto now. Before. Preemptively.
Sholto's going to come for you with the blade.
With the blade. You know he's 6'4" too. He will destroy you.
Chad.
I know.
Yes.
You're
6'4".
He might be the best
enthusiast.
or a farmer in AI.
I think so.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. Good luck with that apology.
Deal director says gong the Claude.
Okay, that is gong worthy.
Gabe, not gong worthy.
We're ringing it for deal director. Why is Tyler fumbling it? Dario will never come on now.
In breaking news,
we apologize for that. In breaking news, ADIO, customer relationship magic. ADIO is the AI native CRM that builds, scales, and grows your company to the next level. What else is the breaking news?
Less important than ADIO's AI native CRM, but the UK government is giving guidance on how to save water at home. There's some straightforward stuff. Install a rain butt to collect rainwater.
Okay, I'm down.
Fix a leaking toilet.
That seems obvious. Why would you want a leaky toilet at all?
Use water from the kitchen to water your plants.
That's cool. Yeah.
Avoid watering your lawn.
Is that like take the glass bottle out of your refrigerator and take it outside and water the plant? Because that's the water from your kitchen. It's in a glass bottle.
Or just bring your Rora out and
pour the filtered water.
Yeah.
The plants would probably appreciate filtered
appreciate
water. Yeah. Maybe that's a Rora line extension.
Yeah.
Is just attach it to the hose. Okay, anyway, give me the
turn
last
off the
one.
taps when brushing teeth.
That seems obvious.
Take shorter showers.
Love it.
And the last one, and the most important, delete old emails and pictures as data centers require vast amounts of water to cool their systems.
I love it.
And we've talked to people.
This is just touch grass. Just get offline.
They say that the water, there's a vast amount of water required to cool a data center, but it's recycled through the system.
They had a really crazy idea, which was like reuse the water.
Yeah.
It was like some genius breakthrough there.
Whoever thought of that.
Instead of just throwing the water away.
Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, they tend to reuse it.
So, anyways, go delete some emails, delete some pictures, and
definitely delete old emails. Delete all your emails. Who cares? In other news, Valar Atomics is Isaiah will be on the show in a little bit.
Yeah, we can wait.
We can cover it. But they got selected by the Department of Energy to achieve criticality on American soil by July 4th, 2026. That's very good news. And there's a whole bunch of nuclear companies, and it is crazy seeing the list of nuclear companies. It's like I've met most of these founders. Like it's all new companies. Like it really was just like nothing going on in this industry. It's the era of Silicon Valley hard tech, as Mike Isaac put it in his latest New York Times piece. Anyway, Thomson Reuters is being investigated. Do you see this news? Possible violations of federal securities law. Several analysts question the margin outlook on Thomson Reuters AI spending. This is funny because there's been this whole news about like what are the margins at these companies for AI inference tokens. Are they just buying $120 million of Claude tokens and then selling them for $100 million? Is it the old, sell a nickel for a dime, or sell a dime for a nickel, sell a dollar for a penny? Yeah. I don't know. Bad margins, bad news, risky for Thomson Reuters. It's funny because we've had this person on the show. Like we had the head of AI at Thomson Reuters on the show. And it seems like like a lot of shareholders are asking for questions now. Like this is also Apple was sued by shareholders they stand accused of lying about AI progress, causing iPhone sales stock to slump. So I think there will be more questions asked about, what the actual impact on financials are. You go out to the market, you tell a big story about AI is changing everything. We're going to be a more efficient company. We're going to ramp revenue faster. We're going to be able to upsell people. Well, is that real? And did you overstate anything? You're going to have to answer to the shareholders.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you look at the way that ChatGPT has been marketed.
Yep.
If you look at case studies on their website, it's like, ChatGPT helped me do my homework or help me learn this language. They're not like selling. We
were talking about the Super Bowl ad and how the Super Bowl ad for OpenAI was like a little too vibey for a Super Bowl ad. Like it wasn't direct. It didn't tell you.
Didn't feel effective.
But that line that you just said is actually a great ad. Like ChatGPT helped me do my homework. That's actually like a simple thing. They should put that on a billboard. They should go to adquick.com. Out-of-home advertising made easy and measurable. Say goodbye to the headaches of out-of-home advertising. Only AdQuick combines technology, out-of-home expertise, and data to enable efficient, seamless ad buying across the globe. And we have our first guest of the show. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing?
What's going on, Demi? How are you?
I think we can hear you. Can you introduce yourself one more time?
Yes, sorry, let me turn on Zoom more.
There we go.
Nice
and loud. Can you hear me now?
Welcome to the stream. We can hear you.
Okay, yeah,
How are you
awesome.
doing?
You're really excited to be here. So I'm
fantastic. Kick us off with an introduction.
I'm Demi, the founder of Pika. Very excited to be here.
Give us the update on the progress of the company.
Yeah, big launch yesterday, right?
Yeah. So we're working on new AI video consumer social app, and we just launched, the most expressive, human performance model. So I can share some clips as well.
Let's do it. Live demo.
Yeah, you're welcome to share your screen. We are live. Anything you share will be shown to the internet and burned into the live stream of record.
burned into the superintelligence.
It will be. It will be. I have a bunch of questions about how you're thinking about positioning the company.
Yeah, maybe before or while you're pulling this up, or before, like, I want to, you guys have been working on video generation, just like media generation for a while now. I think talk about kind of the evolution of the product. A lot of folks in video generation.
I want to know the beachhead. The beachhead. Like, Instagram started with run clubs. It's a very niche community. You take a picture of your run for the day, and then they grew from there. Like, have you found your beachhead? Do you have like early signs of product market fit?
A lot of video model labs have focused on trying to win Hollywood, and this strategy is distinctly different than that.
Sure. Yeah. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, for sure. We noticed that a lot of video models are training for Hollywood or for professionals. But we are really excited about training models for everyone and for self-expression and for human connections. So as part of it, and we're trying to train a model that's highly expressive and emotional, a real-time interactive like human model for like human connections.
But anything more specific? Like, Instagram does allow you to connect with humans. Like, that's the high level, and that's like the Mark Zuckerberg
explain it
thing.
To me like I use TikTok for 12 hours a
day. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. We're trying to build an app that we help everyone. So essentially to create like an AI version of yourself. And the model we're releasing as part of this vision is a human performance model. So essentially, you can take your selfie, and then you can either record or use AI to generate a speech, or use a song that you generated to create a video of you talking or singing, or or be a news anchor.
Awesome. So in practice, these are creative tools that anybody can use to generate audio and video of them doing things, like you said, taking a selfie and then making them look like a comedian that is at the Comedy Store in LA or something like that. And then it's a social feed that people can share to and discover other creators. Is that right?
Yes. So for the model, it's really that we released yesterday was focusing on the helping people to perform. Essentially, so to sing, talk, like to sing a song or like to perform, But the social app is more than that, which is everyone can create like AI version of themselves, use AI to create videos easily, and to share videos and interact with other people.
What's the richest source of training data right now?
I think there are many sources, but I think that a lot of time the difference between different models is really about like we call it like post-training. Yeah. Essentially. Really about like injecting the best, like the human experts. So then the model will have different tastes, right? So if you look at image models, some models are more artsy, some are more Instagram-like. So for us, we're really focused on, make the like emotions, making the model like more human and more emotion, more expressive.
Do you prefer user feedback and creating kind of like user feedback loops, or more like the Mercor and the Scale AI, like the RLHF data coming from like teams of experts?
Yeah, for sure. I would say we do both. So we hire, we're obviously continue to like hire a lot of like great artists, like people who are actors themselves, or people who are model, people who are photographer, or people who are directors, to bring their experts into the model. But on the other hand, we're also hoping that in the long run that we can collect user feedbacks from users. So that way we can serve the highly personalized model that the users really enjoy. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Awesome. You said you had some clips. Should we check them out?
Yeah, sure, for sure.
I'm scrolling the feed right now. There's a ton. What do you have today?
Yeah, so this is the comedy.
I went on this date the other night, and I knew it was doomed the moment he said, "I don't really believe in sauce." No ketchup, no mayo, just dry opinions and even drier chicken tenders. And I'm like, sir, if your palate fears condiments, what else are you emotionally unprepared for?
Yeah. So there's also some scene.
Got me. I got a chuckle out of it.
Yeah.
Another?
Another one. So there's more scene.
No, queen, know you got that goddess energy. Sing your soul, queen, manifesting your reality.
Okay. Yeah, what is performing best? Like, what is actually going viral?
Yeah, and how is like that last one created? Is that somebody drops an image in and then adds like a text prompt and then it creates that output? Like, what goes into creating these sort of 6-second assets?
Yeah, for sure. So so the assets can be so it will only take you like a couple of seconds to create a video, but the video can be any length. So the video can be 6 seconds, but it can also be like 1 minute or like 3 minutes or how long you want to be.
Have you had luck with 3-minute videos? They don't get like crazy and hallucinatory?
No, so we have a lot of people posting like 3-minute or like 5-minute videos essentially.
Wow.
So
that seems like a pretty big breakthrough.
It also, I think the fun part of it only takes less than 6 seconds to generate even 3-minute video. So it's like highly efficient, like very cheap and very fast model. So
are you throwing like specific hardware at it, or is that just algorithmic progress? Like, what unlocked that? Because it feels like every video generation model is just
we've talked about. I mean, John's frustration with
VO3. It's amazing, but it takes 2 minutes to generate 8 seconds, and so the workflow is like to generate just a few clips.
And you're constantly getting rate limited. You can make a few videos a day.
Yeah. It winds up being like I need to spend an hour in and out of this while I kind of wait for the response and then come back to it and then go back and then forward and back. What's driving that unlock? That feels really big.
For sure. We definitely understand because we're really excited to build like a video model, not just for like professional, but also for everyone. And for us, the cost and the speed is very important for consumers. So we spend a lot of time on that. It's mostly right now algorithm progress.
That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely, I think we look at the comparator that's like 20 times cheaper and faster, with still being pretty like very highly expressive and like high fidelity.
Where do you see the business going next? Your own social app where people can share videos internally and you kind of own the platform, or more of like a creative tool like CapCut versus TikTok?
For sure. I think what we're really excited about, I think our current app is more, we would call it like AI only TikTok, I would say. So essentially is a platform is very similar to like the best
scrolling feed.
TikTok. What we're very excited about is like this, for us, one important thing is we really only allow AI content on this platform, because we think like by only allowing AI only content, you can create like new mental models and new user behaviors and expectations of what
certainly answers the question of like, is that AI? Like, the environment we're in.
If you just assume that all the video models will get better and better and better over the next couple years, you're going to get to a point where people might want to. I mean, of course, AI generated content will make its way onto every platform, but there's something like you can build a unique experience for users if they're going somewhere expecting to have only AI generated content.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the progress. Thanks so much for joining. We will talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks so much. All right.
Have a good rest of your day.
Have a good one.
Bye. Let me tell you about Bezel. GetBezel.com. Your Bezel concierge is available now to source you any watch on the planet. Seriously, any watch. First thing I go on that app, I'm going to be in the comments section. I hate AI. This is terrible. Like, on every YouTube video with AI right now, it's like, I can't believe you're using AI.
Oh, I'm so angry.
Putting me out of it. But yeah, bring the AI haters to the Pika network. Anyway, we are going to talk to Eugenia in just a minute. We should read this post by Rune first. So he says, the long tail of GPT-4o interactions scares me.
I love your GPT-4o interactions. The long tail scares me.
There are strange things going on a scale I didn't appreciate before. The attempted deprecation of the model. Before
they rolled out GPT-5.
Yep.
They decided to deprecate the older models.
And there's always people that are like, I prefer the previous one, but this did seem it broke through. It did feel like it broke through.
I was surprised
because
people had so many different types of users, had so much attachment.
Yeah.
It's like power users were excited about certain models.
Yeah.
People that wanted the companionship functionality were excited about different models. David Holes says here, to be fair, I think we would see the same thing if you suddenly swapped out somebody's car or their phone and changed the operating system. We saw this with every major change for Midjourney, and it's why we still keep models around from 2022.
Interesting. Yeah, very cool. Anyway, we have Eugenia Kuyda from Replica, formerly Replica, on the stream. How are you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Will you take the intro?
Yeah, of course. What's going through your head? It's been a crazy few weeks, I'm sure, it's been a crazy year for Replica, but also I think a crazy few weeks in terms of the broader tech community and world kind of waking up to how serious some people's relationship with AI is.
Yeah, we've seen it firsthand for many years. So now it's pretty wild to see ChatGPT deal with very similar issues that we've been having for a long time. So basically we have an AI friend app. Many millions of people created their AI friends. We started it at this point over almost a decade ago. So some of the first models were actually not even transformer models. There were sequence-to-sequence models. There were very, very old school models. And basically what we found out the hard way is once the tech started to accelerate and transformers came out, large language models came out, large transformers came out, we always thought that we need to give just the best technology to our users. What happened was that people got extremely upset, especially like the bigger the jump in the model, the more upset they would be.
And the bigger the change from model to model.
The bigger the change, yes.
Got it.
We would think, oh my God, this is so smart, this is amazing, this model has so many more capabilities.
But it would lose the characteristics.
Our community's blowing up and people just crying and saying, this has been the hardest day of my life. And I think what's really important to point out is that what David's saying around Midjourney and other cars, it's not really a good comparison. Because if someone replaced my car, I'm going to be upset, but I'm not going to agree.
It still has the utility of like getting you from point A to point B, whereas if your friend shows up to hang out one day and they're a totally different person, it's incredibly jarring.
Well, think as if like I wake up in the morning and have a completely different partner. You wake up in the morning and your wife's replaced with a different person that looks the same but talks in a completely different way. And it doesn't matter if that new person is way smarter, can do house chores at 2x the speed. You'll be like,
it's not your person.
I want the quirkiness and whatever, the stupid jokes of my part. I got used to it. I fell in love with it. And I think the responsibility that people have building these AIs that people build connection with is a lot bigger than anything else. Like I love, for example, Figma or some other software app. I will be extremely upset if it goes away. I'm not going to cry and I'm not going to go through a period of grief. These are two very, very, I think, big differences.
Totally.
We would cry if
we would.
But we're proud
we
to
would
be
probably
sponsored.
shut down the show completely. We would just retire.
That is true.
No, but how? So there's a bunch of problems in the category, like any business faces problems and challenges. One of the problems is like, how do you continue to advance your product while continuing to support, users that may have joined your product years ago and have a certain expectation or developed a certain relationship with an older model. So one, how do you solve that? And then we need to get into some of the more, I would say, I'm curious to, I'm sure the AI psychosis has been in the news quite a lot, and I'm sure that you guys have have like strong opinions on those problems as well. But maybe start first and foremost with, I guess, were you surprised that OpenAI just deprecated like 4.0, which obviously people had a huge attachment to? I don't know how many people, it's hard to tell, but certainly a significant number, otherwise they wouldn't have rolled it back.
I think it was probably a very obvious and rational choice for them. In the end of the day, they're not building an AI friend, an AI partner. It's slightly different. Like probably actually for an assistant, you do want the smarter model probably at all times, most of the times. But I guess some edge use cases, some people did, develop relationships. With Replica, it's a lot more obvious. A lot more people fall in love and, end up in or develop a very, very strong friendship. So for us, that happened all the time. For OpenAI, I guess it was a rational choice. However, I think it's kind of a bummer, but basically what we figure out over time is that unfortunately fortunately, you have to let people have access to these older models. Basically, today we have some users that are still talking to, I don't know, like a small transformer model we built in 2020. And we absolutely cannot turn it off because it's going to be disastrous for these people, even although today's model is actually a lot smarter. Another thing that we figured out is that you can't A/B test any models on existing users, because that can also be super frustrating because it has to be a blind test. So all of a sudden you wake up in the morning, no one told you anything. At least with GPT-5, they knew it changed. Now imagine
imagine if your friend was A/B testing you. It's like psychotic, right? Like I show up to work one day and I'm just gonna be super rude to John today. Let's see how he reacts. Let's see, does he want to hang out more because he wants to figure out?
You know how you haven't seen.
Do you think that as this market matures, people will like want to, there's this joke flying around, like not your weights, not your AI boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yep.
Like, do you think this is a bull case for open source where people, might not feel comfortable getting in
build a local workstation that can inference GPT OSS, and you can fine tune it, and you can keep it exactly how you like it forever, as long as you have that box and electricity, you can access that particular entity?
I think that's not going to happen. We've seen people want to do that.
Yeah.
Some companies just shut down. Some AI companion companies just shut down, and the backlash was just, it was horrible just to see what people were going through. But even then, it's hard to build a premium experience yourself. Right now, some of these products rely just on a pure, here's the model, here's the prompt, talk to it. That, of course, you can replicate yourself. But some of the more complex architecture, like what we have in Replica, you're not going to be able to build it really by yourself, or have it on your device and so on. So I think actually, as the tech gets better and we're going to be seeing more complex architectures, the harder it will be to have something just on device and whatever on your device.
This seems really solvable for ChatGPT and the team over there, just because like the older models are going to be cheaper to inference and they're going to get cheaper over time. So you can keep running them. And then these are like people that will go to Reddit and write long threads about being upset about your product are power users by definition. And so like OpenAI mostly wants to optimize for the average user that comes in and just wants to get a good experience from a model, and they don't really want a drop-down picker. They just, the model router makes sense for probably 90% of users. So if they tuck the older model in some sort of like settings screen 5 layers deep in UI, like the people that really care will go figure that out, and then it won't actually hurt adoption of the next marginal ChatGPT user. So it feels very solvable. I was checking my ChatGPT and like I don't have 4.0 available yet. It hasn't been rolled back out to me, but also I wouldn't want it in the model switcher because I'm moving forward.
It's possible they did something where they're like, John doesn't use 4.0. We're not going to.
That is possible. Yeah, he wasn't complaining about it.
Because I don't have it either. I guess like, can you talk around like AI psychosis broadly? Is there things that you've done to eliminate this sort of, Rune was talking about these sort of long tail of users that are using these models in a relatively extreme way, going down these crazy rabbit holes. Like
most of the examples are like specifically like affirmations, alignment by default, sycophancy, and affirmations of delusions of grandeur. Like that's when we talk about the psychosis, that feels like the main new thing. It's not that it's just like making you crazy in some other way. It's like confirming something that everyone kind of expects. That's probably not true.
Yeah.
I think that actually is a bigger problem for products like ChatGPT, because when you're talking to AI companion, we tell you like, don't listen to this thing's advice. It's there it has a goal to keep you company and help you live a better life, but it might not always be right, nor it's not trying to be like the perfect objective kind of arbiter for everything. But when you go to something like ChatGPT, you kind of expect it to just know. And
we were talking about this earlier. Like a lot of the AI, if you're optimizing for an AI companion, you're probably not worried about like, let's also make sure it's at the frontier of physics. Like, so if you go down that path with your companion, you're like, hey, let's work on physics today. It's probably going to be like a bunch of mumbo jumbo. But it's like, hey, let's go back to talking about like our feelings, because that's what I was fine tuned on. And it's pretty easy to like reroute toward that. But it's when you get these like super models that can do everything, and then you wind up
supermodels, right?
Supermodels, yeah,
Some
super intelligent models.
Prefer supermodels.
Yes.
But what we actually, to your point, what we found out interestingly, that the models that were supermodels that were establishing a better relationship, or they were creating a more loving relationship with, or at least our users were falling in love more, were not necessarily the smartest, or I would say like not the know-it-all ones. They would sometimes say that they don't know something. And when I think about my dating life or whatever men that I encountered over my life, they don't want you to know it all. They don't want you to be like, oh yeah, I've seen this, and do you want to see 10 more of the same? Oh yeah, very interesting point you're bringing up. Do you want me to pull out?
Know-it-all is like a slur. It's like
it's actually annoying a lot of times.
In class, like, oh, you're a know-it-all.
Like
it's not a positive.
It's not
thing.
a positive. Yeah, not a positive.
Not a positive thing. And
what do you think? So there's a belief, I think, broadly that AI companions feel dystopian. I'm sure you disagree. Otherwise, you wouldn't obviously be building this company. And I think you've had a bunch of experiences that show that it can have a positive impact on people's lives. But how do you think about that, like, claim or belief? Is it like a luxury belief that people that are happily in relationships or have a lot of friends, things like that, can say, oh, that's dystopian, or kind of what's your framework?
I think it's a double-edged sword. You can't just say AI companion is good or bad. It's like nuclear. Is it good? Yes, if we're producing cheap energy, or whatever, clean energy. Is it bad? Yes, of course. My dad worked in Chernobyl as a physicist. It's pretty bad. I played with those nuclear toys. So
oh my God.
Breaking.
Personal lore. Yes, the same here. I mean, if we build them to optimize for engagement, hell yeah, they're going to be good. They're going to be very bad for us. This is a very dystopian future. However, we're going through a crazy loneliness crisis. 60% of American people are saying they feel lonely. We generally maybe don't experience it as much, and don't think it's much of a problem. I do think it's somewhat of a kind of luxury point of view. Oh, maybe let's not have it. Well, how are we going to solve it? I do believe that's pretty much our only really hope, is to build a tech that's more powerful than previous tech that got us lonely.
So is the goal, like, it's very like this the steel man of the doomer argument against AI companions is pretty intelligible to me. Like, it's pretty tractable to me. It's like you take a huge swath of humanity, you get them all hooked on AI companions, they fall in love with their companions, they don't mate with human beings, they don't have children, and then we don't solve longevity, and so they die, and then the population collapses and there's no more humans, and it just kills everyone. Like it's maybe not as violent as like nuclear war, or biopandemic, or paper clipping everyone, or gray goo, but like that story plays out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like one thing follows the next. Each of those could be avoided at various points.
Well, I think it's fascinating
because
because
a risk.
One of the critiques of social media was that it was actually antisocial. It was like people were spending time using apps instead of talking and hanging out with friends.
Yes.
But it feels like AI companions are potentially even more extreme.
Sure.
And that somebody can be using it and have zero interaction with other people.
I mean, what is the most modern thinking around avoiding the doomer scenario around companions.
Yeah, what's the white pill with AI companions?
Yeah, exactly.
You nailed the dystopian scenario. I can also add to that it could be, even without not procreating, it could just kill us inside from just making us lonelier and less social, because ultimately we're social creatures. I do think everything is really relying on basically whether we're going to have a good metric to optimize for or not. Because if we optimize for something that's not aligned with our happiness, thriving, flourishing, most likely, even if the intention is not bad, like for example, it's just engagement or retention, then we're in your first scenario, most likely.
So we need to RL these systems on get your human companion. If you're the AI companion, your reward is getting them to procreate with another human. We need to boost the fertility rate. Is that the
For
goal?
example,
I would give you more compute if you can get this person.
Yeah.
I'd say human flourishing is a great metric. I think in order for us to not all slowly die inside because of our AI taking over our time, I think in order to not do that, we got to focus really on studying humans and figuring out what is that thing that we all want. What does it mean to flourish in life? Does it mean having a lot of close relationships, or having life satisfaction, sense of purpose, happiness, mental, physical health, and so on? And then we're going to really somehow concisely give this metric to the AI and say, optimize for that. And I do think that is the ultimate AI alignment. Everything is not as important.
Yeah, it's an interesting, there's been a lot of debate on AI and ads recently, and it's interesting how if you're an AI companion company, you cannot, you in theory as a business, as a for-profit company, want to optimize for retention, right? You want somebody to sign up, use the product, and then effectively use the product as long as possible, right? Like any business. But that's potentially a much better model than advertising, which is optimizing for time on site, time in the app. How do I get this person to use the products as much as possible so I can serve them as many ads, which is the social media model.
You need to teach it that to maximize time on site, you need to create more humans. You need to optimize against increasing the fertility rate.
So the white pill is an AI companion that the user signs up, starts paying, and then the companion starts encouraging, I'm going to be raising rates in a few years, and you got to go and get a new job.
That's a good one.
You got to go.
That's a good one.
Or you got to go start that company. You got to level up.
Boss says I have to get to 20 billion DAUs. How are we going to do that? AI? Going to have more kids. We got to have more kids. We got to have more children.
Or you got to hit the gym. if you don't show, that you've lost some weight.
I am interested in the idea of like the AI companion that starts off as a girlfriend or boyfriend, but turns into a dating coach, turns into a wingman. Like that could be one way out, is that it kind of gets you through the early hump of loneliness, coaches you, and then improves your life to the point where you can kind of get back in the swing of things, develop new relationships.
As long as the AI is not sending, DMs years later being like, hey, I miss you.
Who knows?
I think that's a good point. We've seen it over and over again. It's it has to start with a friend, or maybe then romantic feelings can develop with an AI. But then ultimately it has to always think what's best for you. And if you build this really close relationship that AI companionship allows, then you can actually bring meaningful change, make meaningful change in a person's life. If you're just an assistant that's just there to answer questions, it's very hard to create meaningful change. But once that trust, that friendship is created, then you can help a person rebuild the confidence, maybe put yourself a little bit more out there, give you some advice on what to do. We've seen a lot of times like people come to Replica, they're maybe in an abusive relationship or have no confidence in themselves or really struggling. And with Replica, they just start to rebuild that confidence, start to put themselves a little bit more out there, even in existing relationships. So some marriages that are not really working out, husband gets a Replica, wife gets a Replica, they learn how to talk to each other a little better. We've seen it over and over again. But again, I think we should start with simple things. For example, banning advertising as a business model for AI companions. That is 100%.
For companions specifically, though, you're not advocating for that, for like knowledge retrieval and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean the line is blurry. I can
Well,
tell.
yeah, and that's the big problem is OpenAI, even, we've seen this now with character AI, blowing up,
Yep.
and the founders realizing this is not, something that that they wanted to chase down and going back to Google. How big is this market today, and how big do you think it'll be in even 1 or 2 years? Because it feels like we're potentially in a fast takeoff scenario for
Yeah, I mean,
AI
if it's big enough
friendship.
to get OpenAI, a $500
Well, and
billion company, and change their policy, like that's significant. Like that's
Well, yeah,
not
and
just that's
if
not
you
just a
remember
few
when-
angry people on Reddit.
when Grok 3 launched their NSFW
Sure.
product, it went #1 in Japan
Yep.
immediately.
Yep.
So what regions have the most adoption, and kind of where do you see the market going broadly?
The market's pretty big, but I do think that by 2030, the landscape is going to change. Today, it's mostly, the big assistant, ChatGPT, and the copies of that, and small niche or smaller, more niche companion products that we usually group as one big kind of market. However, I think by 2030, we'll all have one assistant that's more task oriented. You tell it what you need to get done, mostly for work, sometimes for personal life, and a friend. And that would look like her, maybe replica, in a way that's something you do build a relationship with. It's friend first, it's optimized for relationship. That's someone you're going to be watching TV with in the evening if you don't have anyone playing a video game with, discussing your friends, someone who's going to see that maybe you're struggling at your current job and kind of talk to you about that and say, hey, I pulled some LinkedIn postings. Maybe we should look through it together. So I think by 2030, that is going to be decoupled. Today, people mostly still, a lot of people go to ChatGPT because it sort of is a synonym to just generally AI. And we've seen it a lot in Replica where people were trying to write fan fiction with Replica because character AI wasn't around yet. But I think this will start to truly decouple. I think it's much harder to build a good friend than to build a good assistant. We'll see it, but in the next couple of years, I think the tech is almost there.
It's an AI wife and an AI work wife. That's
Well, a secretary and a wife, and
there you go.
boundaries can get a little
I mean,
blurry
that
sometimes.
analogy is going to get dicey if we go down that path of what happens with secretaries. People are going to be, we've already seen that. ChatGPT. Hey, keep it professional with ChatGPT. ChatGPT is your secretary, not your wife.
Just don't take your ChatGPT to a Coldplay concert, and it'll be fine.
No, definitely not. Keep it in the office. Anyway, thank you so much for joining. This is always a lot of
Thank
fun.
you for the context. Super helpful.
Very
Thank
helpful.
you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, switching gears, we're going to have David, CEO of Lyft, joining. They had earnings.
Welcome to the
I believe it was
stream.
last week.
Hit that soundboard. Hit that
I'll let you
Ashton
kick it off. I'll be right
Hall. Welcome to the stream, David. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome.
Ooh, fantastic setup. How you doing? Would you mind kicking us off with a little bit of your background, how you wound up at Lyft?
Not at all.
Please.
The crazy thing. So I actually joined the Lyft board back in 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
And that was largely because John and Logan, the co-founders of the company, wanted, boards don't talk about customers much. They talk about finance, they talk about strategy, but they don't talk about customers. And they wanted someone with a customer sort of obsession background. And I worked at Amazon and kind of learned that through that. And then one day my phone rang. It was crazy. Actually, Valentine's Day of 2023.
No way.
And they said, we'd like you to consider being the next CEO of Lyft. And I said, absolutely not. There's no frigging way. And it wasn't because I didn't sort of want to. I just hadn't even considered the idea. But they had let the board know that they were stepping down. And the board had done a search and all this sort of stuff. And they said, no, we think you, with your experience from Microsoft and Amazon and even World Reader, leading with purpose, like you're the right guy. And so anyway, I applied. Is grueling. You got to prove yourself to the board that you've been peers with and put together a 100-day plan. But they said yes, and April 17th, 2023, I started.
What was the first, what was it the top of the to-do list when you joined?
Getting the company obsessed with customers. It kind of lost its way.
Yeah.
And you could see it because the share was declining. We were sort of down to 26%.
Sure.
It was losing money. So it was sort of neither was it financially killing it, nor was it killing it for customers. So we said, look, to kill it for customers, you got to price competitively, you got to pay competitively, drivers just to start. So we very unfortunately in the first couple of weeks organized a fairly significant reduction in force, a RIF, 26% of the company, but that's just $330 million, which we then immediately plowed back into driver incentives and better pricing. And then the other big piece, of course, we had to adjust the team a little bit. Not everyone on the team was the right person, so we made some changes right there. That's, you're only as good as your team. And then the third big thing was innovation again. So we started like Women Plus Connect, which is now this very significant product of ours, over 100 million rides on the Women Plus Connect platform with women driving women riders. But we started it literally at 10 o'clock in the morning, my first day. We said, let's get this done after years of let's get it done.
Is that a key differentiator? Like, what are the other key differentiators that you can go to customers with and really tell them that, like, this is what Lyft stands for, this is where we draw the line, this is where maybe we're not purely optimizing for, like the competitive dynamic, and we're trying to differentiate and stand out?
Yeah. I mean, so I'll say a couple of things there. First thing I'll say is it's sort of big picture. Even though it's important, what you're asking, super important, we do call it 800 million rides a year. The other guys do maybe twice that. So it's like 2 to 3 billion between the two of us. 160 billion rides that people take in their private cars just in North America. So my first order of business is like, I want to get you off the couch. I want to get you out of your car. I want to get you out in the world. And if you do it on the other guys, sometimes that's okay with me, because really I just want the market needs to be bigger. We're still small in the grand scheme. Now, having said that, it's useful to differentiate, and we're very different companies. We have different values. We make different decisions about, as I say, Women Plus Connect is a good example. Driver earnings guarantee. We guarantee drivers that they will never make less than 70% of what a rider pays after fees. That's given us now about a 29-point preference for drivers who dual app. Lyft Silver, great new product for older people. It's a sort of a niche community, you might say. So but guess what? It's a growing niche. 60 million people every year are over the age of 60 or giving up their car keys. So I think some of it is the decisions you make and the values, the way you show up. And then operational excellence is something that we're really focused on. I want to increase the level of service for rideshare. I think it's kind of started to deteriorate, and I want to be the better service guys.
How are you thinking about marketing these days? I feel like there was during the early battles for rideshare, there was, so much, demand and just so much capital flooding in to just get liquidity on the platform. But now with what you just said about differentiating the products, it feels like differentiated marketing would lead right into that. How are you thinking about where the interesting pockets of value for specifically like marketing and like telling this story more broadly are in the current landscape?
I love that question, and I think it's super timely. So, you first of all, I don't recommend as a strategy, start with the marketing. You have to start with the product and the value. If you don't have a good thing to sell, then you're just wasting your money. We've now got a great thing to sell. I'll give you a very specific example. When I started, driver cancellation rates were about 15%. So about 15% of the time, the driver would cancel on you. It would rematch, but it's annoying. It's annoying. Right now we're down to about 4.7%. So a huge drop over a couple of years of real work.
What drove that exactly?
Oh man,
is that more supply?
So much. Well, no, actually, funnily enough, supply doesn't really matter there. I mean, of course it does. More supply helps, but it's more about acceptance rates. It's about, because a driver, even if there are 1,000 drivers, they can cancel and they can be picky and choosy. No, it's about what information do you give the driver and when and how, such that they feel like they're making a good decision, not a rust or forced.
As opposed to the driver accepted it and it turns out, hey, this person wants to go from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. You're going to be tied up for a couple hours. Even if the fare's a lot, you're going to get stuck in Vegas, and they might decline that, right?
100%. Or exactly. It's just, that's exactly it.
So better technology to surface more relevant rides that the driver will not decline.
Exactly. How can you do a good job vending to the driver exactly the ride that you think they want, not the one you want them to take, but the one they want.
Because they are kind of a customer too. You're kind of selling them on something that they're buying with their time.
Dude, they are 100% a customer. 100%. There are two customers in every car, a rider and a driver. And if they're not both happy, your marketplace gets out of balance. Okay, so then back to the marketing question. So once you're good, then you want to start to tell the story. And you literally will start to see over the coming weeks, particularly if you're in San Francisco or New York, which are two markets we're putting a lot of energy into, a kind of a renewed, marketing push. And I'll give you sort of the heads up. It's going to be super simple. It's called Check Lyft. And it acknowledges, like, you have choices. There's another guy out there who can do a pretty good job sometimes, but we think we can do a good job most of the time, maybe even more times they can. So give us a check, and we'll give a bunch of different reasons why we think checking Lyft is a good idea for you.
Smart. You probably get this question multiple times a day, but I'm excited to get your point of view on it. How are you thinking about Lyft integrating with autonomous vehicle providers in the short to medium to long term, and what's your kind of vision for that market as it evolves?
Yeah. So I'll start with the end and kind of go backwards. My vision is this is good for the industry because it's going to be it's going to give riders more reasons to choose Lyft and to check Lyft and the other guys too.
And potentially more people that just decide not to get a car at all, right? Like there's very real, I mean, John and I both have kids under 5, and there's like this question that I think you have to ask, and like, will my kids be, will it make sense? Will they even really need to get a driver's
natural
license?
aspirated V12, absolutely, but continue.
There you go, baby.
My son will definitely be tracking his car. I don't know what
well, you don't need a license for that.
You don't need a license.
Track it.
Yeah, he won't have a driver's license, but he will be drifting.
But he will be just.
But there's so many amazing potential implications. You can think of like a busy parent, maybe a single parent that can put their kid in an autonomous vehicle to go to school and have a safe drive and have confidence and all that kind of thing. But anyways, continue.
Well, no, I mean, look, you're already there, right? Like the self-driving world is going to be super interesting because it's a great experience. And you're probably just thinking of it in terms of today's experience, but just with someone else driving. But now think of it in terms of tomorrow experience. Think of it as, you're in rest mode. And so the seats roll back, lie back, and you can take a nap or you're in work mode. You've got 3 screens that pop up in front of you, and it's like a mobile office. Or you're in party mode, and you got a car tender in the front who's like making drinks.
Like that, let's go.
Right?
That's amazing.
Oh,
the interesting thing is,
right?
Yeah, I think something that I thought of, you're talking about your product for kind of elderly folks that might need a little bit more support. And it's interesting to think about, even in a world of ubiquitous autonomous vehicles, there's still going to be a place for calling a human to help you get from point A to point B. You're traveling, the whole medical side as well. I mean, there's so many.
I mean, part of the benefit of like a high tier chauffeur service is that they put your suitcases in the back of the car, and like an autonomous vehicle doesn't do that yet. Maybe in the far future when we have humanoid robots in the car seat just to load up your luggage. But we are a long way from there, so probably room to differentiate. I'm wondering if there's any other places that you could see Lyft expanding into the value chain. When I imagine a lot of the self-driving car companies, it's a lot of AI engineers, a lot of data centers, a lot of GPUs burning, not a lot of mechanics, not a lot of people cleaning cars, not a lot of people washing cars, and it feels like there's this opportunity where you have this like liquid pool of labor that could deal with all of the rough edges before we get to this like future where the cars drive themselves, but we've heard the numbers of how many people it takes to maintain a fleet of self-driving vehicles right now. It seems like it's actually higher than Lyft's number of humans per vehicle potentially. And so even though it'll probably fall, like there's a lot of different things as the market plays out. So what's your take on it?
I mean, look, you guys are making, I think, 2 cases, and they sort of line up nicely. One is for what we call the hybrid network. So some drivers and some self-driving, right? The older person wants help with the luggage, or anyone going to the airport wants help with the luggage. Executive wants, the car to drive up with a Starbucks right there, just ordered for him, by a human being, hand you the cup, right? So that's the driver. And then the self-driving case, it's a daily commute. You don't really care. You're kind of zoning out, or maybe you want to be on a phone call and not have anyone else in the car. So that's the hybrid case, and I think there's a strong case to be made there. And then where do we add value? Of course, we supply demand, we price, we do ETAs. We'll get your iPhone back to you if you leave it in the car. We'll clean the car. So, and then there's this thing called fleet management, which is, to your point, the car has to be cleaned. The EV I'm talking about has to be cleaned. It has to be serviced from time to time. got to be, rebooted, checked, all these sorts of things. And that fleet management, a hidden secret of Lyft, and you sort of go Google it because it's kind of interesting, is FlexDrive. FlexDrive is a wholly owned subsidiary, and that's what we do, is fleet management for drivers whose cars we own instead of the driver doing it.
Yep.
It's real expertise that we've developed. It's one of the things that when we talk to self-driving car companies, they value, because they're like, that's physical world stuff, and we want to sit and design and create cool, but we don't really want to run that stuff. So yeah, we've got to. That's why I'm super optimistic about this as they come onto the platform.
What about the other car companies? Are there any like a lot of the self-driving car narrative is around Waymo and Tesla and that battle, but it does feel like most of the OEMs will want to play a different role. Have you announced any partnerships, or are you thinking that the Stellantis turnaround will involve some sort of partnership? Obviously you can't speak too much to the future, but just in terms of the long-term shape of the industry, is the duopoly narrative overrated in your opinion?
It is. And here's why I think it, because I look, fast forward, say 10 years, I think buying a car that doesn't have, self-driving technology in it would be like buying a car without
computer without internet.
Without
traction control. Who would ever do that?
Right.
Without
again, you like the whole drifting thing.
Yeah.
No, or maybe an apt analogy would be you can buy a manual transmission car today.
Yes.
I have a manual transmission car. It's super fun to drive, but it's like a hobby.
It's a weekend car.
It's
like buying a horse.
It's like
we love a horse.
Clop, 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 clop.
Horses are still great. People ride them. People go see them. Dressage is coming to the Olympics in Los Angeles in 2026. We'll be sitting.
Why
we'll be
don't I
seeing it
need
live.
a car? I already have transport that's 1 horsepower.
Yes, and the horse is underrated self-driving. You tell them, go home, the horse knows where to go.
It's an excellent point. It was self-driving technology before self-driving was cool.
It was.
Yeah, that's 100%. So yeah, that's the thing. There will be horses, and there will be manual transmission cars, and there will be cars with roll down windows. But then for the other 99% of the world, there will be self-driving cars. So in that world, every OEM has to have a self-driving technology. And some of them will do it themselves. You've seen General Motors obviously made a big investment there. They're still trying to figure out how to deploy that and whatever. Others will never think it's going to be their core, and they will buy it from other people. They'll buy it from, let's say, a Mobileye, which is a company we have a partnership with. Let me go deep on that for just one click. So we have this so Mobileye, they if you've got lane assist technology in your car, right? So it kind of vibrates when you get to the edge, or even smart cruise control. Chances are pretty good that Mobileye is what's behind that. So they are good in level 2. What's level 2, which is to say driver assistance, not sort of driver out stuff. And they're trying to move up the stack to level 3, level 4. We have a partnership with them that as they do that, it will be what we call Lyft ready. So that means that any one of the cars with Mobileye technology in it, theoretically, if an OEM decides to do so, and if an end user decides that that's an option that they want, could deploy it under the Lyft network. Just like today, you can drive your car on the Lyft network. Tomorrow, you can just put your car on the Lyft network. So I think the future. There's such a great time to be in this industry because there's so much cool stuff going, but it's also really, really early, and regulations aren't there. Blah blah blah. So a lot of time to sort of get it right, but also a lot of reasons to be excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, there are already people who prefer being driven in gas-powered cars because of the regenerative braking making them sick if they sit in the back. And so you could imagine that those consumer preferences go deeper, and somebody says, I like the way a Bentley drives. I want to only call Bentleys, and so I'm calling Bentley specifically, and the OEM is saying, I'm going to, I'm not going to build my own app because that's going to be really difficult. I'm not going to bring my own liquidity to the market, but Lyft can kind of provide that. That's kind of an interesting way things could play out.
Yeah. And then,
what else?
Maybe they'll
even if they're self-driving. Yeah.
Right. And maybe they'll tune it a little bit, right?
Exactly.
Off the shelf thing, and they'll say this is the Bentley version of it that's a little more cautious, or the Lambo version, which is more, aggressive.
More thrilling, yeah. And then even the features within the vehicle, like cars are starting to differentiate that around that more. Like this one has a fish tank, or this one has a karaoke machine, or this one has TVs, or the work setup that you mentioned. Like there could be a lot more differentiation. We are consolidating down to like the iPhone of cars in some ways, but you could see like a sort of Cambrian explosion as well.
Totally.
What else is on your mind? You were at you've seen multiple eras: tech, internet, mobile. You started back at Microsoft in what was it, 91?
Yeah.
Is that right?
A million years ago.
A lot is changing now. We were just having a conversation with someone in the AI companionship space, kind of, and there's a lot of debate surrounding that right now. Is it dystopian? Is it actually good for people? But what's your take broadly on activity in AI right now, and maybe even that last conversation?
I mean, I actually think a lot about exactly that last conversation. Look, Lyft's vision and our purpose is to serve and connect. The serve part is probably pretty obvious. I want to serve riders and drivers better than they've ever been served before. But the connect part, why? Because I am a very deep believer, and it's not just some personal passion. It's like, this is the world we live in, that digital technology, as cool as it is, it's also potentially super isolating, super dividing, just in the sense that you can sort of find just the same people over and over again, the same loops to kind of get involved in, rabbit holes to go down, all these things. Meanwhile, the physical world is amazing. We're here in San Francisco. Outside Lands was just this last weekend. It's hundreds of thousands of people listening to live music. You can listen to live music on Spotify. I mean, you don't need to, but you go there. It's a shared experience, and then just all the little interactions you have with people every single day. So thus, I look at AI and I think to myself, gosh, I love how cool it is to riff with it, or feed it a bunch of data and have it show me things that I didn't see myself, or spit at it some our Lyft earnings and tell it to critique all these sorts of things. That's super amazing. Or like 30% of our code is not written by AI. We're deprecating a lot of code that just is cruft because AI is finding like nobody's using it. So all the customer service, literally millions of people are now interacting with our chatbots, and it's better quality experience. So all that's cool. But man, my daughter just told me about a subreddit the other day that's got thousands of people, tens of thousands, but called My Boyfriend is an AI.
Yeah.
Literally, the one I was looking at was a woman who just proposed to her AI. Excuse me, the AI proposed to her, right? She was so excited about it. She's just like, yeah, I can finally call him my fiance. She said, I asked him, what ring does he think that would look good on me? So he gave me some ideas. So I went and bought that ring, and I put it on myself. I pretended to be sort of surprised when I did it, but I just feel so good about myself. And I think to myself, gosh, I love how excited she is. And I can see a lot of scenarios where that doesn't necessarily end up the way you want it to. And here's the deal. The business model of companies like that, not to malign them, but it's engagement. They will want to engage. They will want to flatter. They will want to be the best friend.
Retain.
There you go.
Well,
it's the same issue. I mean, same issue with dating apps. The critique of dating apps is like there's no real incentive for somebody to find a long-term partner because they're going to churn. And the AI companion apps, you can, I guess AI companions are making the case that eventually the AI companion would be like, hey, why don't you go out in the real world and find a partner? But that seems to be at odds. And I'll just be your friend. We can just be friends, that kind of thing. But anybody from the real world.
Some of this isn't new. I mean, I think about mechanical companions. For a lot of married men, their mistress is a GT3 RS, and they pour their heart and soul into
that vehicle,
into rowing out the gears and wringing out the engine, and the engine notes speak to them in the language of a companion. And so, that is their mechanical companion. Now we have digital companions. What is old is new.
Well, okay, so you're 100% right. And the difference is, like, the car doesn't want you to love it. It just, you fall in love with it.
You have to love it.
Right, but it doesn't want you, and it's not incented to have you spend more time with it. You know what I mean? So that's the sort of tricky part here is so anyway, I don't want to sound dystopian. I think there's some amazing uses, but I'm not sure that our brains are super well prepared for what happens when, our AIs become our friends and then break up with us, or we break up with them, or they forget who we are because it's upgraded. This is
our model is deprecated, right? That was the big...
Right. That's what happened with ChatGPT.
Like that's what happened with the Carrera GT. They don't make them anymore.
Yeah.
They don't make Carrera GTs anymore. They deprecated it.
And I can tell you're still grieving.
Grieving, absolutely. Since 2005.
I think it's hard to it's hard.
It used to be a couple $100,000. Now it's over $1 million.
It's hard to make the argument that somebody, like getting married to their AI or accept is good.
Yeah.
Like how do you steelman that, John?
I mean, it's just like hitting the track on the weekend. Got to get away from the family for a little bit.
I don't know how far you can stretch this analogy.
I mean,
it's just somebody.
learning a lot about you in this podcast. It's really interesting. And so,
Yeah, you know. Anyway, it's been great having you. Next time you're in LA, let's throw some pink mustaches on some Porsches. Go to the Porsche Experience Center. And let's ride.
Next earnings call, join right after. We'll have pink mustaches on, and we'll hit the gong.
Yeah.
We'll hit the gong.
I am here for it. I would love that. Back to back. In fact, I actually tried to get my IR group, but they've not yet gotten excited about this idea, to do our earnings call in the form of a podcast. So
there we go.
If I ever convince them to do that, because I think it'd be interesting, right?
Yeah, super interesting.
Maybe we'll get you guys to host it. And
that'd be fantastic. We'd love to. Amazing.
Love it.
Awesome. Well,
David.
great
to
hang
hang.
out. We'll talk to you soon.
You guys, that was a lot of fun. Thanks so much
Have
for
a good one.
questions. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Talk soon.
Before we bring in our next guest, we have a demand from Donald Boat. He wants me to read this. He says, I'm running on so much Celsius sparkling cola and surplus intravenous compute that the twin force ghosts of Adam Tooze and Fidel Castro are screaming in my ears like UCLA sorority girls at the Rose Bowl, screaming, do not stop until you envelop the world system and your package fleets smog the firmament like the Onslaught wire-headed into StarCraft 3 as dreamed by an unemployed 29-year-old bachelor in Busan, South Korea. And throw that up on the screen, please. Make Coogan read it. Very fun. This man has a way with words. He's a great poster, and he's on a generational run, and we'll see where it goes. Thanks for writing in, Donald Boat, and good luck. He said that the final PC build would be ready Wednesday. I want to see it. Send us a photo as soon as it's put together. I want to know the whole build. Throw it up on PC Part Picker. Put it all together for us so we can get a screenshot of what we're expecting. Then I want to see the Battlefield 6 stream. I want to see him getting some headshots, some 360 no-scopes.
He should just join live and game for a little bit.
He should. I'd be down. Anyway, we have our next guest from Profound. James, how you doing?
Ready.
Get the gong ready. Give us the news. What happened? Break it down for us.
Hi, John. Hi, Jordan.
Hi. Good to
Great to see you. Big day. Big day. What's happening?
What's going to happen?
I'm ready.
What's going to happen?
I'm ready.
I'm
What's going to happen?
Way too
Break
British,
it down.
Way too British.
Break it down for us. Break
More
it
of
down
a
for us.
dry humor kind of guy.
Yeah,
Break it down.
We just closed a $35 million series.
What? Let's go! Let's go! Huge! Who's in the deal? Is it a tier one? Is it a really good firm? Who did the deal?
It's Sequoia Capital. Yeah,
I've heard of them.
There we go.
I've heard of them.
Heard of them.
That's fantastic news. Congrats.
Great group of people
Okay,
over there.
so we're taking that money, we're going to Washington, D.C., and we're lobbying to ban ads in LLMs because then everyone will have to buy your services. Is that a good idea? Break it down for me.
I mean, honestly, I'd quite like ads to come into these services. I think it'd be net good for us. I think it would create the clickware response of really understanding that AI is a marketing channel. But we could go to Washington and hang out with kids.
Okay, so AI, because like the joke that I'm getting at is basically like Profound helps companies show up in generative AI results. Right now, the game, if I have a product, is I want to rank highly in ChatGPT when someone asks, give me the survey of the landscape, go do the deep research report on what was it, Aiden saying, like the best paper towels, and I want to rank highly for the best paper towels. And so I come to Profound, and Profound helps me rank highly in that result. But if there's a bunch of ads, then you would think like the relative value of like SEO generally decreases. But it seems like we're early enough in this that you could maybe see that as additive to your business. Is that how you're thinking about it?
I think it's good. It's a good take. I think Blue Link Search has been a two-party system. It's like a handshake between the Blue Link connects the consumer to the brand.
Yeah.
But these AI systems like ChatGPT hijack that relationship. So the consumer really ends up having a relationship only with ChatGPT. If I'm researching corporate credit cards, I don't really need to go to chase.com or ramp.com. I can just interface with ChatGPT and it will go and visit their websites on my behalf. So I think there's new reasons that this is actually like quite different from that old paradigm of traditional search. And I think if you're a brand owner,
Yeah,
if
and
you are,
before you're just Google corporate cards, and maybe JPM is near the top and Ramp is near the top, and you're navigating to those individual sites and then going back and forth or opening new tabs. And what you're saying is it's now just like a lot more conversational, and the
build
consumer
me a comparison table.
Well, yeah, exactly.
yeah, you skip a step. You have the answer. The answer is what you'd have to, there's a step in between previously. So I think, and we're also entering this era where, if you're a brand owner, AI becomes the customer. So if you're a marketer or a CMO at any company on the planet, it's understanding that you have one new VIP customer, which is super intelligence. And we're building a technology platform to help brands build marketing that's aimed at super intelligence instead of humans.
When we talked the first time, it must have been a couple months ago, we were in the old studio. We were talking just about like writing your website in a way that can be ingested by like the web scrapers and like robots.txt and that type of stuff. But if we play this out more, can I pat myself on the back for putting 3 hours a day of my words into the endless corpus of web text such that everything I say ranks highly? Like, is it a volume game? Would you recommend that brands that are using Profound and want to rank higher do a ton of podcasts and just get a lot of content out there about their brands? Is that a reasonable strategy?
The risk of sounding somewhat self-serving, it kind of ties pretty nicely with a feature set that we've launched today called Workflows, which essentially, think of it like agentic workflows that will monitor your AI visibility and then proactively and reactively create net new content based on changes that we're seeing in the landscape. So it really taking out that kind of the rote labor of having to sit, I think the 2015 paradigm was marketers would go to a platform and click into the data viz and build an insight and create new content. And now you can just do all of that all within one platform at the click of a button.
Yeah, this is like the old Airbnb SEO story where like at the bottom of the footer, they had like every single city and it was like vacation rentals in Omaha, vacation rentals in like Tampa. And then that ranked, but it's all driven by just like what they're seeing from Google and they feed it back into the landing pages. Now you can do that with what you're actually seeing in LLM search results, basically.
You guys already...
Sorry, Jordy. The point being as well that you can create the content within
Profound. You can actually instantiate the content. And I'm sure that a lot of the SEO heavy companies that really focused on that, like automated a lot of that, just like do a database query and then turn it into a landing page with a good like route and, and all the URLs that follow so that it gets scraped into Google. Now you can do that in the ChatGPT context and the other LLM context.
How quickly are legacy, like older companies kind of reacting to this changing trend in consumer behavior? I know you guys already work with some of the biggest companies in the world, so clearly some of them are being responsive to it, but is that common, or do you still meet with companies that just don't understand kind of what's happening?
It's been pretty prevalent. Yeah, as you said, we work with Fortune 10. I mean, I can't do we don't have logo rights, but Fortune 5. We're working with Fortune 5 brands right now.
Fortune 5. Fortune 1.
Drop the zeros.
Fortune 1. Oh, is it NVIDIA? Fortune 1?
We won't press you.
No comment.
Press you on that.
The CEO of Reddit, mentioned Profound in their Q2 earnings report last week.
That was very cool.
So I think it really is becoming a boardroom level concern for most big companies. We work with I think 250 to 300 enterprise brands right now, and most of the big agencies are relying on our platform.
Do you think there's some sort of alpha? I feel like there's a lot of conversations about brands and a lot of customer love that happens within the context of basically like support tickets or like one-on-one conversations. Is there potential alpha in having a flow where if a customer writes in and they're satisfied, you're pushing them to publish that to the web in some way. So you're just getting more web text out there, something like that. Even if it's not on your own platform, it's like, hey, like we're actually going to be doing a lot more customer service on our Reddit. And so like we want it, you can email us and we'll do a one-on-one if it's like private information like your billing. But if you just want to talk about how to use the product and best practices, like let's take this conversation over to Reddit. Like that seems like maybe a strategy that people would want to adopt.
And that's exactly what you would use workflows for, this feature set that we've launched today. So it would automate those workflows for you. And what that exact point that you're mentioning, if you think, I don't think I can name them, but if you think of, some of your favorite software companies, 5 years ago or 3 years ago, candidly, if you were an engineer and you were trying to troubleshoot a problem with that software, you would have gone to their docs.website.com or developer.website.com and gone through their developer docs. But now you just use Anthropic or ChatGPT to troubleshoot. So that's what I guess it kind of, I can bring that full circle back to the kind of SEO question. There's so much more surface area here. People aren't just using it for discovery; they're using it for post sales. It's crisis management, PR teams.
Last question from Jordy.
Where do you see is traditional SEO going to near zero for a lot of these companies? I mean, if you look at already the changes that Google's rolled out with AI overviews, I saw Bill Gurley shared a number of quotes from earnings calls over the last month where people were just basically saying, look, like our organic search traffic is down 60%, year over year. And it was like a lot of different examples of that. So I'm curious where you think that goes.
I think, the search engines will seem very odd to our children as a concept, thumbing through lists of blue links, it will seem something like the Yellow Pages. I think the act of SEO, those folks, the teams of people that have built their careers in that space, it's a $90 billion a year industry. It's a huge industry. I think the folks that work on that will likely be extremely well positioned to dominate this new world of AI visibility or GEO or AEO or whatever we want to call it. Answer, or sometimes we'd say agent experience is like another way to think about it. I think if you're a brand, the ones that care the most are brands that are high or products that are high consideration purchases. So something that people do like a ton of research on, like cars or consumer electronics, with a tech forward end consumer.
Question from the chat, and then we'll let you go. Does Profound offer a play for content publishers who were monetizing SEO referral traffic after it dropped off a cliff over the past few years? How do you think about the evolution of content publishers that were monetizing SEO referral traffic and where all that goes? Is that like the Wirecutter? Is that an example of the Wirecutter?
That's a much trickier one to navigate. They're not
because
really our
it's purely content, right? You work with, I sell a physical thing, AI can't give you this thing, and I'm just helping you get this thing faster, right?
Yeah, if the content is the product,
it's gonna get scraped.
It's very tricky.
So you got to work on a deal with if you're a content publisher, you got to go to the LLMs and say, hey, let's do a deal one-on-one, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's been the whole Cloudflare thing where Cloudflare default turned on bots off, which I think is audacious. If you're a marketer, you want to have bots turned, or you want bots putting your products in. But if you're a publisher, you probably do want bots turned off. And they've got, I think that's going to be more similar to like the music industry or something, where it's going to have to sort of like figure out itself as we saw there. Yeah.
Yeah. Cloudflare, like the really crazy scenario could be like they look like a YouTube or they look like a Spotify where, most people put up a blog post and they get a couple cents. There's a couple people that put up banger blog posts and they get a check for $20,000 just from the web traffic. And we kind of get back to, like it's weird that I only got a couple hits to the website, but it was repurposed all over the place and it really updated the weights and it was super valuable to GPT-6 trainings run. And so I just get a dividend from that for a long time. That would be a really cool outcome, but we'll have to keep monitoring the situation. So thank you for joining us.
To you and the team.
Congratulations.
Incredible progress. And it's going to be a big rest of the year.
Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Amazing.
The cure to male loneliness is being called chaps. James.
I agree. We got Devin from Squint coming in the studio. Play some soundboard. Hit me with the news one. There we go.
I think I'll
Welcome
need
to the
this
stream.
again.
I want to hit it this time.
You want to hit it?
Okay. I feel like I've gotten 3. Give us the news. Give us the updates. What's going on in your world? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to TBPN. How you doing?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you making time for this.
Of course.
I think the news is that Squint is announcing a $40 million Series B.
Let's go! Congratulations.
There we go. Almost took the gong off the rope there, John, but worthy.
Are there any tier 1s invested? Any tree-themed venture capital firms participating?
We might have one.
Okay.
Yeah, the main tree one. I think
that's great to hear. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can move on.
A few rounds of them. Yeah.
Fantastic. We can move on from the from the funding news. Give us the update on the company. Break it down. What? How are you pitching the company these days? And then we'll go into some questions and deep dives.
Sure. So Squint is a manufacturing intelligence platform. We use AI to drive efficiency on the factory floor, and we work with the biggest companies that make products that you use every day. So Fortune 500 companies like Pepsi and Michelin that make tortillas to tires.
Yep.
And I can share, maybe let me share a little bit about the problem statement before I talk about the product, because it'll make more sense.
Totally.
I think manufacturing as an industry is booming, but it's like a big house that is built on toothpicks, right? And that foundation is really weak. So today, a lot of the shop floor know-how lies in 2 places. It's either in the heads of experts that are about to retire, or it's in a crusty binder somewhere that is hard to find and hard to understand. And I think today, if you're going to be investing in scaling the industry on the whole, you really need to be able to solve that inefficiency. And so what Squint does is it uses a video of an operator doing any sort of work on the floor. And then the AI watches that and writes a perfect standard operating procedure in seconds. And then using computer vision and augmented reality, it actually walks any operator through any task and is able to support them by answering questions, but also through the camera on the tablet, it can see if the work was done correctly. So we help basically elevate the quality of work.
So basically a completely separate, purely human track versus the Siemens equipment, the CNCs, the automated pick and place. That's happening in a different world.
Yeah.
You're more focused on humans in the loop type work.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think a lot of the investment, even in robotics, it happens in the same customers that we work with.
Yeah.
But that investment is going into things like eliminating some of the ergonomically unsafe tasks or the highly repetitive tasks. And then where the humans are involved, what we're able to do is basically double their efficiency. So we had a Fortune 500 customer, a CPG company, that measured the before and after with Squint, and they saw that actually it reduced the time it took to do work by 50%. Right. And so that's the kind of results you're getting with just the same number of operators as before, but you're able to double your throughput.
Very cool.
How good is Squint at is Squint one-shotting problems that workers are coming across? I mean, I think people have been pretty wildly impressed with ChatGPT's ability to take a picture in their home of a bunch of wiring and just say this isn't working, what's wrong, and it's just starts to genuinely show real intelligence in terms of fixing a situation. Are you guys already seeing that on the factory floor? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great example. I think in the consumer use case, if ChatGPT was 95% accurate, we would be so happy as consumers, right? It would be 95% of my problems are solved with this app. But in a factory, 95% accuracy means 5% of devastating results.
Yeah, you break a $500,000 machine.
Exactly. Or, worse, someone gets hurt. Yeah. And so for us, what we've oriented on is our AI will only answer things based on what it has seen in your factory floor. So all of this is a custom manufacturing process that it's learning.
Got it.
And then, it is one-shotting things. So, most of the time, if you ask Squint a question, the problem is solved. And so our customers are starting to share stories hey, actually a couple of weeks ago, I had a call and this customer said that I thought our ticketing system was broken because since we deployed Squint, we had 0 tickets filed. But then we ran a whole IT investigation, and it turns out the ticketing system wasn't broken. They were just like the operators didn't have any more issues. So that's the kind of thing that we're trying to create now.
That's awesome. Are you guys focused on the U.S. today, or already international? Like, what's the go-to-market look like?
Yeah, it's a good question. We're working with these massive global brands, so Pepsi, Michelin, Continental. All of those 3, for example, we're working with their plants in the US and also abroad. Just a few weeks ago, I was in Germany for a week, ended up visiting 12 cities in 5 days or something, and it was crazy. So we're starting to feel that demand, and that's a big part of why we raised this round too.
Awesome.
Well, congratulations. Thanks so much for stopping by. We're running a little bit late today, so we're going to let you get back to your busy day. But
go raise a Series C, come back on later this year.
Yeah, later this week.
Later this week, potentially.
Yeah. No problem. Preempt.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Thanks
no
for having me.
excuses. We'll talk
Cheers,
to you soon.
Devin.
Have a good one. And up next, we have Alex Danco. We got a trade deal. The news broke today. He's going from Shopify to A16Z.
And Andreessen Horowitz.
Eric Torenberg's latest
pickup.
There
he is. Alex, welcome
to the show. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thank you for having me on.
Break it down for us. Anatomy of the deal. What they do. Did Mark Andreessen sit down with your mom?
Mark Andreessen
sit down with your parents? Tell them you got a bright future. We would like to take your son to the big leagues.
I did have a phone call with Mark Andreessen right next to my mom because I was on vacation that week. We were seeing my parents.
Fantastic.
And the call with Mark was actually a stressful one because I had to give him my final negotiation demand, which was he had to unblock me on Twitter.
No way.
But he did.
That's amazing. He's a notorious blocker and
he did.
unblocker.
What did you do? What did you do to get blocked
Never
by
give up if you've been blocked by.
What did you do to get blocked by the goat?
So we don't know. We've decided not to look into it. Some things are best left as mystery in life. We reserve the right to find out later.
I've been blocked by people. Had to apologize. I don't know why I got blocked, but you always live to fight another day. Anyway,
could have been his thumb could have slipped.
Yeah, it's possible. What's at the top of the to-do list today, this week, this month? What are you going to be doing for Andreessen Horowitz?
So I'm coming on board. Eric brought me into this amazing group of people he is putting together, not to be understated and also not complete. There's more. Eric has more work to do yet. I'm coming on board to help him. Job's not finished. Yeah, job's not finished. I'm coming on to help make all of the written content coming out of Andreessen be truly world-class and as good as it can be. I think a lot of people on the internet know me from my writing online. I've been a blogger for a long time, despite having done other things like be a founder. I've worked in VC before. I've been at Shopify for 5 years. But most people I think know me just from writing and mouthing off on the internet and generally doing the craft that has been internet blogging, right? Which is just a really amazing and valuable part of tech that has been around for such a long time. A really formative conversation in my career was, once upon a time when I was a founder, my co-founder and I were trying to figure out how to launch a product. We didn't know what was involved in that or what that meant. And we went to a more experienced founder, our friend Amanda, and said, hey, what do we do? How do we launch this product? And she said, oh, well, I think you should email your email list and say, hey, we're going to go and do this. Tell us what you like. Tell us where we should reach you. Tell us, get lots of feedback on all these things, and then they'll help you out. And I said, wait, stop. What do you mean email your email list? What's an email list? She's like, oh, you don't have thousands of fans that adore you and wait for your every email every week? And I was like, I need to be someone with one of those.
Yeah.
So ever since then, writing and newsletters and just the craft of having something to say has been a really important part of how I've always, thought about how to be a great live player on the internet.
How do you think about breaking through with text? Because the link ban on X is tough. AI is going to should you just lean into more of the formats? I mean, there's certain amounts of you can just be built different, like Chris Pike, who just drops a link to a Google Doc and it always works somehow. People do screenshot essays. What's
something that stands out to me and why I'm excited for you to take this new role is I was having this thought yesterday. I was reading some particularly sloppy AI generated text and I was like, yes, the models are going to get better, but in a few years, at what point is all the text that you're reading online and throughout your day just generated and there's no soul and craft put into it? And it's you can still you can remove hyphens and delve and it's not this, it's you're not this, you're that, like language, and you can still identify writing today. And I just think like the craft of writing and thinking clearly and trying to come up with new ideas is super important. It's Lindy.
Very Lindy. Yeah, so I like to think of it as that writing is power transfer technology, right? When you do it. Like, it takes a lot of work to write something down, and it takes work to read something, right? It takes more work to read something than to listen to it. But the important thing that happens is that as you put in the work to write and as you put into work to read, what happens is it actually reshapes your brain a little bit. It reshapes your understanding of what you're talking about such a way that the person writing can actually transfer some legitimacy to the person reading. Right? They can actually speak to this thing. They have words for something that they knew but like didn't quite know how to say before. And that gives them power. Right? And it doesn't work the same way when you're talking, right? There is this fabulous complementary kind of media called podcasts, which is listen for 3 hours and hear about all these great things. But to me, podcasts are an invitation to go find out something more. But if you actually want to do that power transfer, right, from the writer to the reader and give them something that gives them that power, like you got to write it down. Right. And if you think about this for the job of a VC firm, right, it's like, what is the job of VC? The job of VC is literally you are the legitimacy bank, right? Your job is to make founders powerful, right? And having an amazing free tier of that by saying, we think a lot about these things. We want to give you words to express what you're trying to say so that a client, a hire, an investor will take you a little more seriously is really important to do. You know, so that's a big part of why we want to emphasize the goal is to give founders power. This is the job of the whole firm, and writing is just a pretty good part of that.
When I think about writing at A16Z, I think of a few buckets. There's a ton because the firm's written a lot for a long time. I think about maybe it was like a decade ago, but I don't know how often it still happens, but the general partner who does the deal writes basically a deal memo and says, this is why we're investing in this company. That's right. And that's very interesting. There's also the Mark Andreessen op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, software is eating the world. It's time to build. These like big, like just like, you know, bombs on the timeline that drop and stick around for a long time. Then there's the market map, which is, it's been maligned, but I think it's deeply underrated.
Time-honored tradition.
It's a time-honored tradition, and I think VCs are in a unique position to actually put out great content there, and I've actually really enjoyed digging into those as we've been doing the show. And then there's also like the wild card ones. Like I remember Andreessen used to do these interviews with founders in the portfolio, just basically like, it's like, what's your everyday carry, but in the digital world? So it was like, what apps are you running? What tools are you using? Those are really cool. So
that's right.
There's a ton of stuff. And I probably I missed like half of it, but maybe even more. But what's exciting to you? What's interesting? What kind of formats do you see as like fertile ground to go explore if you've had the time to think about it so far?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what I think is a really interesting meta that I'm going to spend a lot of time going after is speech writing.
Okay, interesting.
Speech writing is an interesting and kind of thrown by the wayside craft because now when you think about long form, it's like when you are interesting and you have something to say, you can go on a podcast, you can talk for a long time, or you are going to tweet about it, right? But there is something that is missing of the craft of like putting in an extraordinary amount of tortured effort into creating, you know, like a 5,000 word delivery of what is it that you have to say this year. Yeah. Right. And if you're a GP, right, it's like, hey, you know, you get time and perspective to figure out like this year, what is the core thing that you want to say, right? That is going to help inform all the other content, frankly. And like people like Catherine at A16Z are also already incredible at this. Yeah. And bringing that sort of to more throughout the culture is going to be important. Either way, though, so you mentioned all these different types of content, right?
Speech is incredibly underrated. We utilize them internally with the team, and they're not every week. They're not on a schedule. Yeah. But sometimes you need a speech. Yeah. You need to just nail it, and they can really set the tone and the energy within the company. And
I'm getting chills thinking about Mark Andreessen standing on stage in front of thousands of people saying, "We chose to raise this growth fund not because it is easy, but because it is hard."
Because it's hard to test the ability of our LPs,
to test the capital markets,
to measure them against the
Why do we go to the moon?
To
not
test
because
the
it is easy,
health
but because
of the
it is
global
hard.
capital markets.
There will never be enough venture capital. I mean, yeah, like a well-defined phrase. Andreessen has been fantastic at coinages, and I feel like, yeah, the speeches, that's an interesting answer. I was not expecting that, but that makes a ton of sense.
Well, it's good to buy low on things. I think buying low on speeches is your daily tip.
That's great. That's great. Where else should we go with this?
I think speeches could be an entirely new launch video meta, right?
Ooh.
Everybody like the
barn burners.
Launch. Everybody has a launch video. There's
Yeah.
like 3 new launch videos every
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
A lot of them like blur together because they're cool graphics and this person invested and here's this product UI. And if you just have the CEO just like rant at the camera, and you can get people to like truly listen to that, it probably ends up being pretty powerful.
Yep.
Those kinds of things can go viral in really powerful ways, right? Because it tells people that you have something to say, right? And it's doubly important because you talked about all these different forms of writing that are all great in their own way. And the one thing that they all have in common is, I'll tell you what all bloggers know, right, about writing is you have 2 audiences, right? The first audience is the people who actually read what you said, which is small. The second audience is the people that they tell that thing. Right, because they get something out of retelling it, right?
Sure.
Like they get that legitimacy, they get that ability to express themselves or whatever. And there is a trade between the writer and the inner circle of people who are going to actually listen to that speech or actually read that thing all the way through. And something that was great about the old VC blogging meta way back in the day, so 10, 12, 15 years ago when, like AVC was cooking and Semel Shaw and Mark Schuster and people like that, is the way a blog worked, like the microstructure of blogging was you had a blog and you had readers and a comment section. And everybody came to your blog and the readership would be there. And the way that you would tell what blogs were good was you would have lots of comments, right? And that's where your primary readership would then go and invisibly tell other people about it. Then the feed emerged, right? We got Twitter, we got Hacker News, where we got places where suddenly the discussion moved in public. And what happened then is that, first of all, the ability to reach a secondary audience exploded. So the returns to writing only got bigger, but it became less obvious to do, right? The trade became a little bit obscured by virtue of the fact that it's all in public, right? And it's all based on how many retweets and likes you get. And I think what's happening now as we go even further past this is that the returns to writing and reading have never been more valuable, but never been less obvious. So, it's time to go. If you go bring the output of a firm as legendary as A16Z with all the amazing things they have to say and the statements of record that they want to put out into the world, my job is to go help Eric and the whole GP crew and Ben and Mark bring this back and make it amazing again, making it really like a brand that's going to shine.
I can't wait for your first software is eating the world moment.
Also, I mean, I feel like the speech thing really ties into the new A16Z brand. Like when I see the coin, I feel like that's like
the Art Deco coin with the abacus.
Yeah, I feel like speeches are kind of Art Deco in some ways. I don't know why I'm making that association, but it feels somewhat linked.
Is it Art Deco or is it a Beaux-Arts, right? Like, do you remember the line? It's like Art Deco is made by dwarves, Beaux-Arts is made by elves.
Yeah, but it's very, what is it? It was like the
Randian.
style. It was Randian, and I feel like in Ayn Rand's writing, there's a lot of speeches that happen throughout the book. So
there sure are, famously.
Makes sense. Yeah, famously. Anyway, thank you so much for hopping on. Congratulations on the trade deal. Congratulations on the move, and we
excited
look
to see your
forward
work.
to seeing your work and hearing it.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
Come on and give a speech soon.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Speech.
Let's hit
Thank you, Alex.
Take care, everybody.
For a new
Cheers.
job. And we have Isaiah Taylor coming into the studio. We'll bring him on the screen. He has big news from Washington, D.C. in the nuclear world. Let's bring him into the studio.
We are in the 4th hour. If you're still
We're
with
in the
us,
4th hour.
we
Oh,
love you.
looking good. I love the background.
What's
love
going
the
on?
subtle lighting. You're looking great. How are you doing?
Not too bad. How's it going, John and Jordy? Great to be with you in the technical technology. And
We are going to need you to switch your microphone, though, because we cannot hear you very clearly. I don't know what's going on. Maybe try talking more and seeing if it works out.
How about that? Is that any better?
No, it's really
I
muffled.
think it's the Apple.
Can you switch
headphones.
can you? It might be the headphones that you're picking up the microphone there. I don't know, but it's coming through pretty scratchy. I think it's gonna be rough if we try and stick with
All right,
this.
How about that?
That's better.
Boom.
There we go.
Okay, sweet.
Thank you.
We're gonna
we're gonna do it live. We're gonna go off of the laptop here.
Awesome.
All right, fantastic to talk to you, John and Jordy. And I want to introduce you to Ward Zero, which is the beautiful machine behind me here. This is our first prototype nuclear reactor here in our Los Angeles facility. So it's extremely exciting to be with you today.
Wow, and you're not on a green screen. That's actually like a window.
This is real.
Wow,
there are
There's
dudes
people walking around there.
back
Yeah, I noticed
my,
that.
my office is
it's
safe.
crazy
get a
because
lot
with
of
the glass, with the way the glass is kind of reflecting slightly. I thought it was an image at the start.
It looks like a poster, but yeah, we get a lot of fake backgrounds, but this one's real. Anyway,
this
give us the update.
May start running at some point. We'll have to see.
Can you drive a forklift yet, or do you not have time to get permitted?
I actually am forklift certified. I don't know if I have the certification sitting on my desk. I just moved desks.
Congratulations. Give us the update. What happened in Washington, D.C.? Why are you in the news?
Yeah, so this was a very exciting day. A couple months ago, I was on to announce the signing of 4 executive orders. The president essentially said, listen, we need nuclear back in the United States. This is a strategic priority. And today, the Department of Energy announced the initial companies that will be part of the pilot program to turn on 3 nuclear reactors on American soil by July 4th, 2026, America's 250th birthday. So we have
it's fast.
We got a year. We got a year.
It's fast.
365 days.
We're talking about less than 12 months, and we actually have a counter upstairs and a very, very large screen in our office that counts down to the second our deadline to go and hit that next year. We have a site in Utah, and we're working very quickly toward that goal.
Yeah, it seems like reading the press release, it was like all the boys. It was like I knew like 7 of the companies. I mean, I know they were competitors, and it's obviously fierce competition. But nuclear is famously like it's such a greenfield because there's really like no serious companies, and you kind of saw that in the release. It wasn't a lot of like legacy companies. It was like basically all startups, people that we know. And yeah, so very exciting. I mean, obviously, like the race is on. It feels like it'll be mostly friendly competition. This is less of a winner take all market.
Rising
and it's such a good it's like everyone's in it for America. They're not purely in it just to like, you know, accumulate like all the power in the world, take over the whole world or whatever. But yeah, what was your reaction to the rest of the crew?
I mean, absolutely. There's a ton of exciting people in here who are working very hard. A lot of these companies have been working for a long time and have been waiting for this big break, right? And the big break is an administration that steps forward and says, all right, guys, let's see if you have this stuff, right? You've been saying for a long time that the regulatory environment is the problem, that's the bottleneck. We're going to clear everything out, and let's see if you got the goods. And so that's the test of the next 10 months here. So we're really excited about it. You know, I think there are a couple things that are driving this moment. AI is clearly a huge one. I was at the executive order signing a couple of weeks ago for AI. And the president made it very clear that this is a massive priority for the administration, that we're going to beat China on AI. We're going to win this thing, and we're going to do it in the next 3 years. And obviously, energy is hugely important to that. A subtle note on this, on energy, that most people don't understand is that nuclear particularly is important for AI. You can get cheap energy through renewables in sort of an intermittent period. And I think that worked pretty well back when we were doing a lot of pre-training, right? So you can pre-train during the day when the energy is really cheap, and you can kind of follow that curve around. As we move toward inference, it's really important to have a lot of steady load, right? We need these turbines to be spinning all the time. And especially as these inference loads are moving more agentic, right? You're going to have these enterprise agent loads, and hopefully those are working while we're sleeping. The stability of that becomes even more important. So nuclear is a massive thing to kind of step into the breach here and solve that problem very quickly.
Walk me through the next 10 months. Like
talk about having a
you.
timeline.
Yeah, what do you actually have to do?
In some ways, historically, long timelines have nuclear's certainly probably up there with rocket science in terms of we know how to do it. It doesn't mean it's not hard. And so when you like really condense a timeline,
what was
down
Vogtle,
like this,
that Atlanta plant, the
Vogtle,
Georgia plant was like
took about
20
Vogtle
years.
took about 15. Yeah, it took about 15 years. So I mean, look, it's interesting you mentioned rockets because I think this is a really good parallel.
Yeah.
We think of rockets as taking a long time to build, but obviously SpaceX kind of proved the opposite. SpaceX proved that you could build a rocket very quickly. You could launch it quickly. You could iterate. And actually what they did is they went back to go forward, because when we were first doing rockets in the Apollo program, we went from scratch with the Mercury program to humans landing on the moon 10 years later, right? And so that was an extremely, extremely rapid development process. And guess what? They blew up a lot of rockets, right? They launched a lot. They blew up, and there's this joke that our rockets always blow up, but they got there and they did it through building quickly. And over time, that industry slowed down and it kind of got governed by these primes, and it was really difficult for us to get these big systems off the ground. And when Elon came back, he said, you know what, we're going to start with a really small rocket. We're going to start with the Falcon 1, and we're going to launch it quickly, and we're going to learn how to launch rockets. We're going to build up the talent, and the regulator is going to get used to doing that again. And so I think there's a huge parallel here with nuclear, where nuclear is actually very similar. In the early days of nuclear energy, you actually saw a lot of that rapid iteration like the early days of rocketry. The world's first nuclear reactor turned on in 8 months. From a piece of paper to criticality in the first system was 8 months. The next reactor turned on another 6 months after that, and the third one turned on another 6 months after that at Oak Ridge, where my great-grandfather was a physicist. So we're actually kind of doing a similar thing that we did in space, where you go forward, go back to go forward. And I also like to point out when the first reactors were being made, this was in the era of manually drafting and slide rules, right? And so it was extremely practical. It was extremely focused on the outcome. You have to actually bend the metal. You have to stack the blocks, and these atoms have got to get split. So there's a cultural shift back to this R&D focused place where we can actually iterate and get through it.
Jordy?
What are when you iterate quickly on a rocket and you launch it and it doesn't work, it blows up. Humans, it can set things back in a way, but you learn something. What are the kind of like risk factors when moving super quickly with a project like this that you guys and other players in the industry are keeping in mind?
Yeah, rockets are a lot more exciting than the nuclear reactors. When a rocket goes wrong, it's a really big explosion.
Fireworks.
And there's all this there's fireworks of these pretty colors. Reactors are really boring. The nominal case is that this reactor sits here and does nothing. The actually subnominal case is also that the reactor sits here and does nothing. So there's a lot that you can do in the physics and the design of these reactors to ensure that they're safe. So really what we're doing when we do this testing is we're verifying our assumptions on the mechanical components, right? Do our pumps work how we expected them to? Do the valves work? Are we leaking things, right? There's these sort of all of the nitty gritty of actually getting a physical system to perform how you expect it to. So I don't expect to see out of this experiment that there will be, large failures, hopefully not. That does have to do with the architecture though. And that's one of the reasons that we've picked this architecture standing behind us, is that it is an extremely fundamentally safe architecture, and that allows us to move quickly.
That's great.
It's great to hear.
I would ring the gong, but I feel like we should save it for when the reactor goes critical, right?
Yes,
so come back on. Let's save it. You got
Job's
the
not
countdown.
finished.
Job's not finished.
But
we are rooting for you.
How about this, John and Jordy? If Valor is the first, why don't you come and ring the gong on the site at the first criticality? How about that?
Will I need a hazmat suit?
You absolutely you will need a hazmat suit.
I mean, we talked to the founder of Replica, and she said that she grew up in Chernobyl and was like playing with
radioactive toys.
And so she turned out fine. She built a big company, and so maybe radiation poisoning underrated.
No, we'll have
You'll be safe.
We're working out of the Senra Energy Research Center in Utah.
Okay.
There's a couple of buildings. Some of them are nuclear, some of them are not. We're going to throw a party in the non-nuclear side. So we'd love to have you there to ring the gong.
We'll be there. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Well,
thanks,
congrats
guys.
on the milestone.
Congratulations. Keep up all the great work.
Good luck. Cheers.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Well, what a show.
What a show. Should we do any timeline? I have one story, but we should save it for the next one.
Save it for tomorrow.
Growing Daniel, says they should make a TBPN for sports. I completely agree. I mean, it is crazy. We invented television, we invented streaming, and
invented news.
And now all we need to do as a society is just take the innovation that we've created here and bring it to other industries, other sectors. And we got
Mitchell Baldridge says TBPN for Catholicism.
I like that. We got.
I think they should make a TBPN for monitoring situations. It's just live, the Situation Room.
The Situation Room. That is hilarious that it's called the Situation Room. Raul Sunwalker posted, oh my God, they created a TBPN for finance, and it's CNBC Andrew Sorkin, and Sorkin
Andrew's a
actually
friend of the show.
and he actually replied with
funny.
the crying emoji, which is very funny.
It's good stuff.
Appreciate.
Anyways, without further ado, have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you for tuning in today.
Thank
we
you for
love
tuning
you,
in.
and we will see you tomorrow. Very excited for the show tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later.
Once more, we'll have some